I think if it wasn't for Tony Khan's important announcement, there's every chance that this week we might not be doing this AEW stream. But I am interested in what this announcement is. I also feel that, and again, I could be wrong, but I feel like people are starting to say the same thing now about AEW. They're starting to say, it's gone a bit stale. It needs a boost. It needs a refresh. It needs some, captivating stories. I don't know. I'm just seeing more and more of those kinds of posts on Twitter. And I'm having people hit me up in DMs kind of saying the same thing as well. So I think that, I saw a fantastic post. I saw an absolutely brilliant post that I almost retweeted, but I quickly scanned it, read it, thought it was really good, and then had to go on to something else, so I didn't get a chance. But it basically broke down they claim to be an AEW fan. You never know if that's the truth, right? It could be a WWE fan just pretending and sticking the knife in. But this was someone that said they were a hardcore AEW fan. And they said that they watch Dynamite, they watch Rampage, they watch Dark, they watch Elevation. And they said they want the best for AEW, but it is very frustrating, the product at the moment. And they went through every major character and they spoke about why it's frustrating. And they were talking about, Garcia, for example. Garcia had a choice to make between Jericho Appreciation Society or Blackpool Combat Club. He chose Jericho Appreciation Society, and there's been nothing since then. And also, he was put in kind of care of Sammy Guevara, and they teased that there was going to be some friction there, and that, Garcia being babysitted, if you will, by Sammy Guevara was going to lead to a significant program. And apart from a few falling outs on Dark, there hasn't been any further development with that story. And then they also pointed out the fact that MJF is making Daniel Bryan run through a gauntlet of people. This is the 4th time that MJF has done this. When you go back through his previous opponents, including the likes of Wardlow, who had to do a similar thing, being made to run through, it's the same story that's just being presented again and again and again. Blackpool Combat Club, what's going on with that? William Regal has gone. Is Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, still in that group? We don't see Blackpool Combat Club around Danielson. They also teased issues within the Blackpool Combat Club, which never paid off, and we didn't get any answer to those teases. And this list just went on and on and on. I thought it was so interesting because, the easy answer to say what's going on with AEW is to say, wow, there's no captivating stories at the moment. But if you actually was to sit down, write out some of those journeys, some of those stories that have kind of started and stopped and, promised something but then not delivered, it's really interesting when you actually go character by character. And to House of Black, for example, House of Black, I believe they've got a match coming up against the Elites, but look at the stop starts that we've done with those guys. Look at the stop starts that we've done there. Look at Action Andretti, who got a massive win, upset of the century, beat Jericho. Oh, absolutely incredible. I don't even know what we're doing with him now. I don't know where he is. I don't know what the story is. It feels like that was a moment, and that's it. We've just moved on, and I don't know what we're doing with him. I remember him doing something with Ricky Starks a few weeks back, but again, we've not carried that on. Hook, what have we done with Hook? Do you remember all that excitement around Hook? Where's that gone? Where's Hook gone? Why aren't we doing anything with Hook? It felt like they had something really good with Hook, and then it just sort of fell away. So I can't put my finger on it. I can't sit here and say to you, oh, I think this is why that's happened. I can't sit here and say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. Something's wrong is my answer. Something's not right. I don't know if Tony has run out of steam. I don't know if he's just got too much on his plate. It realistically could be that he's trying to juggle Jacksonville Jaguars, he's trying to juggle Fulham, he's trying to juggle AEW, and it's just too much. It's just too much because even the most diehard AEW fans, and I do have conversations with those guys, like there's some of those that I speak to on Twitter, they say, that's all right. I'm not seeing anyone, not a single person tell me that this product is killing it right now. Even the most diehards of AEW fans that I talk to are saying, that's all right. Yeah, I'll bounce back. It's fine. It's not a bad product. It's fine. What we're getting at the moment is fine, but it's just been better. That's all. That's what like the diehard fans are saying. For me, I think it's worse than that. But I must admit, I am intrigued by Tony's big announcement. Now, Tony's got an announcement tonight, which it feels like it's a little desperate, right? And I'm not saying that as a disrespectful thing, but it was announced like not long after last week's Dynamite that this week Tony would have an announcement. I can't remember it being announced on the show. I can't remember watching the show and having it mentioned that Tony Khan was going to make a big announcement. The fact that it kind of came out after the show, came out on social media, sort of makes it feel a little bit like this is either news that he's only just got, might not have had this news last week, so he couldn't do that, or they've looked at the reaction of the recent shows, they've looked at the ratings, last week's rating, 820-odd thousand. You know, the conversation of them being around 1 million, long gone, right? They're 180,000 away from 1 million, and they're not even in the 900,000s. They're in the low 800,000s. You know, if it keeps going this way, it'll be like, what, 780,000? You know, we'll start going down to those kind of numbers into the 700s. And there's not really a reason for it. There's no American football. We do have XFL, but I don't know how that's going to affect things. I don't think that's a thing. I mean, it's got attention, but it's not the NFL. And it's not affecting WWE. So the football's not the competition. The football's not the problem. And then like you have a look as well at like it's WrestleMania season. Look at the buzz around Sammy. I mean, it's not that wrestling fans aren't around. So yeah, he needs some. He needs some. And as I said, I got to the point where I was like, do you know what? It might be better to step away, let him sort his stuff out, come back once things have started to fire again, you know? But then we heard about this announcement, and I'm interested. He's got me hooked, right? Wrestling fans were simple creatures. You tell me that there's a mystery partner. You tell me there's a mystery. You tell me there's a secret announcement. I'm going to be like, well, really? Oh, I need to be there. I need to know. I need to be part of that. So, yeah, we do love these things. So that's what we've got tonight. So I do have an article from Wrestling Inc., which has got a quote from Tony Khan regarding this announcement. So we'll read this, then we'll jump into the chat. So what I can't tell you right now, but it is something I've got very excited about, is the announcement. It's going to be great for the company. He said there are a lot of exciting things in the near future for AEW. All I can say is we do have the important announcement coming on the show in Phoenix, and it is an exciting development for the company, and I am excited to share it with the fans in Phoenix and all over the world. Buzz around the wrestling world continues to grow as fans wait for this week's Dynamite, and there are several interesting possibilities as to what it could be. Forbidden Door 2 is one of them, but also looking to jumpstart Ring of Honor with the first set of tapings for Ring of Honor TV in Orlando could also be related. So Forbidden Door 2, Ring of Honor, if it's something to do with Ring of Honor, that's going to be underwhelming, I think, because the reason why I say that, Ring of Honor, love it, but it's the main show that is struggling. If you are doing an announcement to say that we've got a TV deal for Ring of Honor, or we've got TV tapings starting for Ring of Honor. That's great. I'm pleased for you. That's not going to solve Dynamite, right? That doesn't fix Dynamite. Whereas if you make the announcement Forbidden Door 2, right, and say it's in, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months, something like this, all of a sudden then you can go, okay, well, that's going to involve certain builds. That's going to involve certain stars. That's going to need a focus. We're going to have matches that we're working towards. Like, all of a sudden that makes you think that Dynamite could, like, you know, get a bit more focus and go in a better direction. So I am hoping this is something to do with a big show or something to do with Forbidden Door or something like that for Dynamite's sake, for the main show's sake, because anything to do with Ring of Honor is separate, basically. It's separate. It would be the exact same if we watched WWE and we were hating on Raw and Vince came out, Triple H came out and went, got a big announcement. There's going to be an NXT show in 2 months' time. So tickets on sale soon. Get excited. Doesn't fix Raw, does it? Like, that doesn't do anything for Raw. It doesn't do anything for the show that we're watching. So that's why I'm hoping that it's going to be something Forbidden Door or Big Show or whatever. I mean, it's not going to be a new superstar, is it? This isn't how they're going to bring someone in. That was something they used to do a lot of, and that was like bring in people to boost the ratings, like, you know, mystery partner next week or like whatever. And they would always tease, and, you know, we got like Andrade and we got Rusev and all this. We've kind of moved away from that, which I must admit is not necessarily a bad thing, because you look at how some of those are being used. Like, you look at Miro and like you look at Andrade, and I know that some of these are disgruntled and they want to leave now, but like, they're just not being used that brilliantly anyway, hence why they want to leave. You know, if they'd have been used brilliantly, they wouldn't be upset now. So just bringing people in to bump the ratings is clearly not the way forward. But I feel like it's been a little while since we had someone come in. I can't remember the last kind of big surprise. Would it have been Saraya, maybe? Could she have been the last big surprise? Don't know. But saying that, I mean, look how she's been used. You know, she is on the show tonight. I'm excited to see her take on Skye Blue, but she doesn't feel they've already made her feel like she's just one of the girls. To be honest, they haven't made her feel like she is this big female legend. You know, already she feels like just one of the girls. So yeah, look, we'll see what this is. No matter what, Khan's programming could use some excitement and intrigue as AEW readies itself for Revolution. Viewership for Dynamite has dipped, whilst Rampage has taken a nosedive, while the latest episode, with the latest episode being the lowest number the program has ever seen. Okay, well, there we go. That's an article by Wrestling Inc. Wrestling Inc. Check Fightful if you like. Check Fightful. What's Fightful saying? Fightful. Update on Trish. Is there one on? Is there something new on Fightful Select? I think I was on here about an hour ago. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Just now. Right. We don't know if it's the announcement, but Fightful can confirm an upcoming announcement is going to happen sooner than later. Fightful has learned that an announcement regarding, is this going to be a spoiler? Do people want to know this? I don't know. If you want to know about this, then keep listening. If you don't, I'm telling you now, so you can step away. But this is on Fightful Select, right? So we'll do it. We'll read it quick. So Fightful Select has learned an announcement regarding an upcoming All Elite Wrestling reality series AEW was working on the series last year. Fightful reported. It's worth noting that Mat Men Radio had a lead on this announcement earlier this week. Haven't heard about it. Those that we spoke to during the filming said they were given the option whether or not they wanted to participate, and that it would take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes situations in the company. God, I hope they were filming around the media scrum. Kathleen Finch, Chief Lifestyle Brand Officer for Warner Brothers Discovery, said in October that Warner Brothers wanted to do more with AEW. Production for this series was shortly after. I mean, honestly, they're giving us behind the scenes at one of the most boring parts of the company's history. I mean, January and February have not been brilliant. They started filming just after October, so what, they're going to have November. I can't remember what happened in November, December. So you might get a couple of good months. Cameras were at Baltimore in early November, so no media scrum and forward. That's the one everyone wants, isn't it? That's what everyone wants to see. Want to see the... isn't it amazing that there's no footage of it, by the way? In this day and age, like, no footage of that fight, that brawl. We've lost it. It's been lost to the ether. It's just a rumor. Well, it's more than a rumor, but it's, do you know what I mean? Like, we'll never actually see that. Crazy. What a waste of time, said Burger07. Well, we don't know if that's the announcement. How would I tell you what, though, is interesting. How would you feel if that was the announcement? An AEW reality show going onto TV, I think that would be interesting. It gives them some additional content. I'm not interested in really behind the scenes. You know, I feel like that's maybe what being the elite is anyway. I would want behind the scenes to be done properly by a TV company that's got all access and you see warts and all, right? I don't want to see a behind the scenes that's been put through a filter of, you know, the Young Bucks and there being the Elite series, which I'm sure is funny, but equally is performed. You know, there's you do get some behind the scenes. I've seen a few bits from that show where they've been waiting around at airports and, you know what I mean, just like you see their life, and it's interesting. But we all want the real conversations. We want beyond the mat. You know, that's what we want. We want the warts and all, like, see the talent talking to Tony and being a bit upset with, like, how Summit has gone and how Tony resolves that. And that's the thing. If it was something along those lines, I think that could be really good, you know. That could be really good. Now, whether AEW would allow you to see that kind of stuff, or if it's going to be more Total Divas, because Total Divas was behind the scenes, but it was, you know, exaggerated a bit. There was obviously things that were just done for the show. There's some good stuff, though. I mean, on Total Divas, we did, and I can't believe we did, but we did a whole watch-along for season 1, right? And I can't remember why we were doing it, or I think it was during lockdown. And I must admit, it's a show that I've always kind of kept a bit of a wide berth to because I'm not the target market for it, of course. But there was some interesting stuff. Like, you could actually see them training at, I think, a performance center before the performance center. So it seemed like they were, I think, probably still at FCW. I think they were still at FCW, which was the old performance place before NXT. But it didn't feel like FCW. It felt like they had changed it a little bit to like an NXT style. So you kind of look at it and go, like, were they planning on, like, keeping that building and just changing that to NXT? Or were they always going to move? Because it feels like FCW was being changed into NXT. And these are just little things that I noticed that made me think, like, oh, that's interesting. And then, like, for example, one of the women's matches big women's match, multi-woman match got cut from WrestleMania because of time. And then you see them getting that news and you see them all like dressed up and like disappointed backstage. Like some stuff, like granted, some of it is like just fake drama and relationships and all that kind of stuff. But some of it was like really interesting behind the scenes stuff. If you was to do that with AEW, give me warts and all, give me the real. I want to feel like I'm actually backstage. That could be really good. I'd actually be really down for like watching that. I think that could be really good. Does that help Dynamite though? This is what I come back to at the start. Like, does that help Dynamite? It doesn't, does it? It doesn't help Dynamite. It doesn't make Dynamite a better show if you bring in like this new show. So if that was the announcement, I would still be very concerned for the main show. But equally, if done right, I could be quite excited for a reality show because I think there could be some value to it if it was warts and all. Godfather's Ho, shout out to you. I hope that Tony Khan's announcement is that Jamie Hayter will be giving advice to Bayley on her ring gear from the waist down. What's up with the women wearing butt cheek straps? Well, do you know, actually, you make a really good point because this is a bit of a bugbear of mine because, and it should, it shouldn't be because it is what it is. But there is a lot of ass on display, right? And it feels like we are catering to a market, or we're trying to grab the attention of a market that maybe won't appreciate professional wrestling, but more the female body, right? Which is absolutely fine if that's why you watch wrestling. But like it's a bit full on at times. Like there's very little left to the imagination. And I would say if that's the kind of thing that people are really into, there are, I'm sure, adult alternatives. Yeah, I mean, where you can have even more bang for your buck, right? But like, I do agree that some of the outfits are like next to nothing in the imagination. I mean, like that. That's a whole topic, though, isn't it? That's a whole topic because the counter argument can be, what's the problem with it? These are great professional wrestlers that want to show off their bodies. Where's the issue? I just think it might attract more Godfather hosts. That's what I think. I think more Godfather hosts will be coming into the community. And no one needs that, do they? No one needs that. So I must admit, I like Asuka's new gear, like the long pants. I like her new look. I think that's pretty good. But I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like Jamie Hayter in particular doesn't leave much to the imagination. But the announcement is that there's going to be an imminent announcement. That announcement's going to be coming on Rampage. Please tune into Rampage. We have got a big imminent announcement. Tune into Rampage. Jim, no one showdays any Marvel or DC comic from the 90s, said Jim. Have they all got it all on display? I mean, no fairness, though, the 90s, I mean, we are going back a little bit. It's, no one showdays WWE from the 90s either. Although a little bit of lag. We've been smashed by some lag. Getting smashed up, mates. Oh no, is it gone? Okay. We'll keep an eye on that. We had a little bit of lag there. It's a ratings grab, said James. The announcement is going to be Ring of Honor tag titles, or it could be a signing from Pro Wrestling Noah. Well, he says that it's like, a big thing for the company. I feel like it's going to be a big like, you bring in a star, like, I don't know that that's a big thing for a company, unless it's they've managed to sign a Jay White, one of the hottest free agents, and something like that. I do worry about this. I must admit, going into this announcement, it's why I'm here, and I do worry that my expectations are being built up a bit higher than they should, because this wasn't announced on last week's show, or I never heard it announced on last week's show. This announcement I got told about, and that it was out on social media. And when you look at the video package preview for this week's show, they don't even mention Tony Khan's announcement. So I must admit, part of me is thinking this is a ratings grab. This is a way of, right, what do we do to boost the ratings? Big announcements do it. We know that it does. Let's go with big announcement. Right, what can we announce? What can we announce? Shall I say I'm gay? Would that be big? Would that be big? Yeah, but Tony, you're not gay? Yeah, but I could become gay, couldn't I? I think it'll play well. Is that a big announcement? I don't know. Oh my God, what should we do? What shall we do? Should we say that we've signed Jay White? We haven't signed Jay White. Yeah, but should we say that we've signed Jay White? Sometimes things come true when you put them out into the universe, you know. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I would, if they sign Jay White, you would love it. I'd love it if we signed Jay White. Tony Khan and his announcements, stop, write better stories. That's it, said Jeremy. That's it. Tony, I'm on coke. The announcement is Tony wants to talk about Sammy and Roman. Yeah, maybe. If he comes out and takes a shot at Ariel Helwani, I will die. I will die. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a good look. So, I tell you what, though, I saw someone say that someone said, he's basically just admitted that he watches WWE. And I found that a bit strange, because of course he watches WWE. Like, I never thought he didn't. If you're in competition in the way that AEW are in competition with WWE, or at least, you know, he claims they're at a war. In War, for example, you obviously want to see what stories they're telling. You might get some inspiration from that. You want to see, obviously, you can learn about what's working, what isn't. You can watch the show to look at formatting and see, like, do they start with a promo? Do they start with a match? How long does their first match go for? Like, at what point are they going to their commercial breaks? Like, you know, how do the commentators throw to the commercial breaks? How many adverts, sponsorships have they got on there? So how many times during a show does Michael Cole have to promote a different product or remind you of something about, like, don't forget this Friday, blah, 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 blah. Like, how many times does that happen? When does that happen? What do they have to take you from hour 1 into hour 2 to keep your attention? What takes you from, in regards to Raw, to what takes you from hour 2 into hour 3? Like, the idea that Tony wouldn't watch WWE, it would be stranger to me than him watching WWE. So I don't know. I thought that was weird. Maybe that's a way that, like, some casuals. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I thought it was strange that was something that was being mentioned. Like, Tony's just admitted he watches WWE. It's like, yeah, of course. Of course he does. Yeah, of course he does. Tony announces Kenny Omega is going to leave, said Steve. Det said, what I don't get is, why are all the WWE marks angry at Tony? Did he do something to all of you that have anger in your hearts for a person you never met, plus you're fighting for a company, said Zet. I mean, I don't know. You'd have to speak to WWE marks. My thoughts on that would be that WWE fans are obviously they're obviously in love with the WWE product, right? And they don't want to see that product get, blown away by AEW, for example, right? So if AEW position themselves as an alternative to WWE, but they didn't position themselves as a respectful alternative to WWE. It's not as if AEW started, and in all of the hype and the interviews and all of that kind of stuff, we weren't hearing that there was, respect for WWE. It wasn't like there was no praise for WWE. It was, with there's Laps fans. We are here to provide the alternative. We are here to give you professional wrestling, right? And they really leaned in to that narrative of, we're not sports entertainment and looking down on sports entertainment. We're professional wrestling. Even now, you've got Chris Jericho and his heel faction walking around calling themselves sports entertainers. That's a shot at WWE, isn't it? That's what it's designed to do. We're not sports entertainers. We are professional wrestlers. You had Cody breaking the throne at one of the very first shows. I think it was the first show when he came out. Like, one of the first things he does is he destroys the throne. That's clearly a shot at Triple H, and probably made things quite awkward when he went back to WWE, of course. But he said that one of the first people that came up to him was Triple H, and welcomed him back. So we know there's no ill will there. Plus, also, if there was any ill will, Sammy definitely would have won on Saturday. So there's no ill will there. But, the amount of times AEW have taken little digs, little shots at WWE, that would be an amazing video. I don't know if it exists, but if someone wanted to make a video of all the little digs, all the little shots that AEW have taken, and honestly, even if WWE is taking shots at AEW, doesn't mean that they had to respond. WWE is not innocent in this. We all know of Triple H's comments at the Hall of Fame, where he called them a peant company, right? And little dig there. But I am very confident that if you was to do a video of all the shots WWE have taken at AEW and do a video of all the shots AEW have taken at WWE, I'm very, very confident that AEW video is way longer. There does seem to be more noise coming from their direction towards WWE. WWE, to be honest, I think learned a lesson during the Attitude Era that you stay in your lane. That's what you do. You stay in your lane. You worry about your products. You don't like try to belittle someone else's product. Look what happened with Tony Schiavone. That'll put butts in seats. Tried to belittle WWE. Ended up driving hundreds of thousands of people to change the channel. Like, you stay in your lane. You stay in your lane and you focus on your products. And WWE have not always done that during this little spat with AEW, but I think they've done it a bit more than AEW have done. And I would say that, if Tony and AEW had rocked up and said, listen, we love WWE, we watch WWE, we're fans of what they do, we're trying to provide a healthy alternative. We're trying to provide something that we don't think is being provided at the moment. And that's the space that we're trying to occupy. We are, professional wrestling. We're trying to do a similar thing, but we're just trying to put our spin on it. There are ways that you can talk and still be respectful, but it was never positioned that way, was it? It was never positioned that way. It was always positioned that they were here to go head-to-head with WWE. There was plenty of fuel on that fire during the Wednesday night war between Dynamite and NXT. And the thing is, once you fire up the fan bases, once you antagonize the WWE fan base, this is where we are. So it's certainly not all AEW's faults. Certainly not all of their fault. But they could have easily positioned themselves differently to what they did. They could have positioned themselves more respectful towards the market leader. And so, the WWE fans got upset. And that doesn't bother me, right? I never got upset at like all of that stuff. I don't like when people take shots. I don't like when WWE take shots at AEW. I just there's no payoff to it, right? There's no point to it. There's no point WWE taking shots at AEW or AEW taking shots at WWE because we're not getting a show, right? There's not going to be an AEW WWE show. We're not going to get all these stars going up against each other. That's not going to happen. So what's the point? Like, where's the payoff? Where's the payoff? It's just nothing more than just little digs, little things that don't go anywhere. They don't lead anywhere. They don't result in anything. And I don't see the point in it. I just don't see the point. I just think that it's I think it just brings things down, So as I said, this could have been a lot healthier. But again, it is what it is. This is where we are. You would have to ask hardcore WWE fan. They might turn around and say something different. They might say that there was a comment or a certain moment that really, irked them. But to me, I think it's just been more that they position themselves as being the competition rather than being like just, respectful and, trying to get a piece of the pie. I think in a lot of WWE fans, they maybe positioned themselves as wanting the pie. They wanted the pie. Like, they would love it if they could knock WWE out of business. I think that's kind of the vibe that got given out. Like, we're here to take over. We're here to, to show you how it's done and all of this. And obviously, WWE fans aren't going to just sit back and allow that to happen. So, yeah, I think it stems down to that basically. If you think I'm wrong, feel free to let me know because that's just my reading of it. WWE. Oh, is it WWE or we? We fans can be sensitive. AEW fans are on every WWE stream whining, said Trini. Daniel said MJF talks WWE because he legit knows that's where a real career will happen and has legit relationship with Bruce Pritchard and Nick Khan, said Daniel. Johnny, hello, hope you're well. Junior said AEW video game will bring the company money. It's also cost the company a lot of money, though, and I don't think if the numbers are true that they will get back what they invested. I think this is a long-term investment, though, because I'm guessing the reason why this first one is taking so long is because this is going to be the foundation for future games. So this is, you're basically building an engine from scratch. Now, WWE did that with 2K22 because 2K20 was a disaster. They didn't release a game in 2K21. That never came out. 2K21, we got Battlegrounds instead. And so you can understand why it does take a long time because they are having to basically build a new engine, a new game from scratch. But once it's out, then other, games can then just use that same system. You just reskin them, the new wrestlers, the new arenas. But the actual mechanics of the game can stay the same. I saw an interview with Kenny, and Kenny was saying that, and he was laughing his head off as well. He was like, he was gutted that it's gone down to a teen rating. They wanted a teen rating, but in order to get it, they had to take out loads of blood and gore. And he was saying you could have the ring covered in blood. It was like, it looked like a massacre. Like you like, you know, it was real full on. And it was brilliant. I loved how it looked and how it felt. And we've had to scale it back basically. But he was like, I really hope we don't lose too much of that now that because they are desperately trying to get this teen rating for the game. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what they've been battling with recently. Has been the rating, hasn't it? The certification. That's been the real battle, trying to get the certification that they want, which is the teen certification, because obviously that gets them out to as many eyes as possible. So I don't know. I don't know if we've got maybe that could be Tony's announcement. Maybe Tony's announcement is the game is coming out on this date. It's done because it can't be far away now. Kenny was saying they got the teen rating, so can't be far away now. Jacket time. Yeah, do you know it's cold? It's cold. I was sat here. I'm sat here absolutely fine. I was sat here and I was like, oh man, I can really feel this on my arms. So I was like, oh, I need some. So yeah, just chuck this on. Right, let me get a better connection. Is that better? Hopefully. Right, Michael. Did Michael send through a super chat? I can see Bloodwire Radio saying super chat, but I didn't get any. Well, I didn't hear any alerts. Did the alert go off? I didn't hear any alerts go off. I could have completely missed it as I was chatting away. But I can see one from Michael. I seem to remember the song lyrics one from yesterday. So I think we read that one, but I don't remember reading Michael's. But yeah, if you sent in a super chat, I haven't seen it, then fire it in. I will read it. No, don't put another super chat. Just put super chat and I'll read it. Daniel said, serious question. How would it work out if Saudi buys WWE? Sami not allowed there. Plus, I assume he wouldn't want to go due to his Syrian heritage. How would it work? Well, I mean, Sami would just be, he would probably leave, to be honest. I mean, I don't think Sami would want to work for Saudi ownership, right? So I think he would want to just request a release from his contract, is my guess. There's a long way to go till we kind of get to that. But I could see that being an issue for Sami. I don't think it would be necessarily, I don't know if it'd be an issue for the Saudis, you know, because the Saudi people were... Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, do you know what it is? Got my headphones plugged in, haven't I? I can hear it. I was like, it's very quiet, though. It's because it's coming out of these. Got them plugged in. Right. Anyway, yeah, I think that it would be... I don't know how much of an issue it would be for the Saudis, right? The reason why I say that is because the Saudi fans, last time we went there for Crown Jewel, were chanting Sami's name. If Sami gets over and popular and the fans demand that they want to see him, I think they will buckle. I think they that they would allow him to come in and perform. I think that if the fans want it and, you know, they're requesting it, and I mean, I could see it being a case that he comes in. I could see it being a case that they would use him. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. I think the problem is Sami. I think Sami is just not interested at all. And so I can't see Sami wanting to perform for that kind of ownership. Corey said, Tony Khan's big announcement is their next pay-per-view. AEW presents contract tampering, unbiased journalism. Bum, bum, bum. That would be fun, Corey. Yeah, I hope you're well, buds. Yeah, the Ariel Helwani thing, that just wasn't a good look, was it? Wasn't a good look. I mean, I did a video on it, and I sort of see where Tony is coming from in regards to he feels that he's battling for everything, right? I mean, he is being told of contract tampering. He's, I'm sure, had conversations where, WWE tried to get New Japan to work with them rather than AEW. There's a lot going on that I think Tony feels like he is at war, and it is a fight. And so for one of the biggest combat journalists to now pop up on their show and actually be on their broadcast, I suppose to him and the headspace that he's in, it feels like Ariel has picked a side or declared for a side or something like this. So, but I just think that message is not a good optic. I don't know that when he sent that message out, that he was really, what was he trying to achieve? He, I think, was angry, upset that Ariel had sort of announced that he'd picked a side, or do you know what I mean? Thrown his support behind. It's one thing to, say you enjoy watching the product as a passing comment, but to actually be on the show and in with the fans and, actually be on the program, that's different. So, okay, if Ariel Helwani was claiming to be unbiased, then I suppose that would be a little tricky. But so I could understand it, but I just think that the tweet, what purpose was the tweet going to serve? What purpose? What did he think was going to happen by sending that message out? Did he think that a load of fans would start throwing abuse at Ariel Helwani, or I don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know what that tweet was meant to achieve. Because clearly Ariel Helwani's not going to turn around and go, "Oh my God, you're right. Do you know what? You're right. I never thought about it that way. Oh God, you're so clever." So I suppose it's just to let Ariel know that you're disappointed, but there's lots of ways to do that. That tweet just wasn't it, was it? I mean, it just wasn't it. But Corey, appreciate the support, dude. Really appreciate the support. We got another super chat as well, which is Bloodwire Radio. Shout out to you. Do you feel like there are talent that are fed up with not being at the top of the cards? Roman has been on the top for how long now? Oh, in WWE. Yeah. I think there's people fed up at not being at the top of the cards. But I think those same people are very aware of who the face of the company is, who the top guy is, and how successful he is. I think it would be very different if the person at the top of the cards was failing. If the person at the top of the cards was not bringing in the ratings, and the person at the top of the card was getting criticized online, and you was looking at that situation thinking, I could do better, right? I could do better. I don't know, hand on heart, what wrestlers in WWE can look at that bloodline story and say, I could do better. It's not a knock of them. It's got nothing to do with them. It's just the bloodline story has killed it. It's killed it, innit? It's been brilliant. It's been fascinating. It's had real attention to detail. We've explored little relationships like Sammy and Jay, Sammy and Solo, Sammy and Jimmy, Roman and Jay at the start, Roman and Jimmy, Paul Heyman, obviously leaving, going back to Brock, then coming back again. We explored that relationship. We've really spent time on the different dynamics, different relationships. It's had its slow builds. They've had loads of TV time. I could understand talent saying, if I had the same opportunity, I could do just as good. I could understand that. But I can't think for the life of me that anyone's looking at that going, I could do better than that. I could do better. Because it's just been so good. It's just been so good. It's really in conversation for best ever WWE stories is the Bloodline story. And the ratings have shown that. Merch sales have shown that. I mean, this Bloodline story was able to take Sammy from the Jackass stuff, right? Which was fun. It was fun. But I've gone back and rewatched that stuff. And he's getting, booing and negative crowd reactions, as he should have, because that's what he wanted, because he wanted to get Johnny Knoxville over, right? He wanted Johnny to be the one that was cheered. And Sammy was playing that, locker room leader, wanted to be booed, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, bottom line is, he doesn't have much in the way of momentum. He's coming off a loss to Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania. The reason he joins the Bloodline is to win back his respect. We took that guy and we delivered Montreal. We went from that guy to what we saw at Montreal. And that is down to Sammy, but it's also down to the success of the Bloodline story. And I think that it's been brilliant. And I think that a lot of wrestlers, every wrestler wants to be at the top of the card. What wrestler wants to be a jobber? What wrestler wants to be stuck in the mid card? Like, there's going to be people like, I would imagine AJ Styles wants to get back up there. Certainly Seth Rollins has already aired his frustrations. Seth Rollins did a brilliant interview with Ariel Helwani where he said that he feels like he's the best wrestler in the world, and he doesn't care about saying that. He said he feels he's the best wrestler in WWE, but he's just in an unfortunate time where this just seems to be the age of Roman. And he said, I didn't position myself to be like this, but it just seems like I am the macho man to Roman's Hulk Hogan. And, you could tell there was frustration there. But he has to know as well that, look at the story. Look how brilliant this has been. The Bloodline story will come to an end. I don't think this runs and runs and runs. I saw a tweet from a few people actually saying that they thought that the story could continue. But I think that it's, for that being one reason, I think it does need to end. Because you've got a lot of people that, need their chance at the top of the card again, need to main event, and Bloodline will have to wrap up and we'll need to go in a new direction. We're maybe starting to see it anyway, what with the cracks in the Bloodline. This is the most fractured that the Bloodline has ever been. Not only did Sammy go, but Jay's gone as well. And, we all saw Jay jump into the ring. He didn't help Roman. He didn't hurt Sammy. It didn't help Roman. He didn't go against Roman. He just sort of didn't know what to do once again. So he genuinely seems to be in this, I don't know what to do. So yeah, they're quite fractured at the moment, aren't they? Does that lead to a full-on split? Does it all come crushing down at like WrestleMania? Tag belts go, and Roman's titles go, and the Bloodline is basically done. And we just kind of post-Mania see the after effects of all of that. And then Roman goes away for a bit, goes to Hollywood or something, works an even more reduced schedule. It's food for thought, isn't it? Food for thought. Daniel said exactly my thoughts. I would hope WWE let him go for a deal completed out of respect. AEW Dynamite is in Phoenix. That's my super chat, says Michael. Michael, shout out to you, buds. I'm glad that we got to it. Michael, appreciate the support, my friend. I'm looking forward to the announcement. I don't know if it is what Fightful reported. I don't know. Could turn out to be something different. But I am looking forward to the announcement. I'm looking forward, actually, to the Battle Royal as well. So Tag Team Battle Royal, that could be pretty fun. Battle Royals are always fun. So looking forward to that. I do think, though, the card looks a little flat in places again. I don't know that it's the strongest card again, but there's a couple of things on this show that's definitely got my attention, hence why we're here. One person said that they think he's back in charge, and here we go with the BS, said James. Oh, what, with Vince? Yeah. What's your thoughts on the £800 ticket prices on Ticketmaster? I don't have a thought, to be honest. I couldn't tell you how much pay-per-view is. I don't know how that compares to a pay-per-view in America. I've never looked at those American prices. So is that a rip-off compared to? I mean, we haven't had a big pay-per-view like this since, well, Clash at the Castle, but before that, you're going well back. So there's not really anything to benchmark it against. I suppose you could benchmark it against Clash at the Castle, but my feelings are that the reason why we'd go in Money in the Bank here is maybe weather, because, we all know that's unpredictable. Doing it in an arena is obviously better. Certainly if you're going to be doing ladder matches as well, climbing up ladders. I mean, you don't want it raining as you're trying to climb up like ladders in a ring and like loads of people around. And do you know what I mean? You're trying to do big spots where you could slip and so weather, I think, could be a factor. But one of the other things as well is if you do a stadium, you got to sell that stadium, right? You've got to sell that stadium out. And so your ticket price is going to be low in order to sell the number of tickets that you want to sell. If you do a 60,000 person stadium, your ticket prices are going to be X amount, right? To try and sell 60,000, fill the stadium, make it look amazing, right? You don't want to be booking a stadium and then selling 5,000 tickets. I mean, that would be a disaster. So you've got to have your ticket prices lower, but you sell more of them, right? Now, I think for a lot of fans, that's obviously the best way forwards, but it might be more financially rewarding to hire the O2, which is going to be way cheaper than hiring Wembley or something like this, right? And so 20,000 that holds, and just go charge the moon. Go to the moon, charge crazy high ticket prices. Do you want to be one of just 20,000 people that can get into this arena and watch Money in the Bank? Do you want to be just one of those? I mean, listen, if the ticket prices are too high, then they will come down because they're not going to want an empty arena. So if those ticket prices are, positioned as being too expensive, then they will get adjusted. But they must feel like that is the price, mustn't it? It must feel like that is what they think people will pay. WWE are only going to charge what they think people will pay. Say if people will pay, say £50 for a ticket, right? If WWE puts it on for 55, 60, people will probably go for it anyway, right? Budgeted 50, 60. Oh, go on, it's maybe once in a lifetime. Let's go for it, right? I think they're banking on that kind of thing, right? Because 800 strikes me as a lot, but I've got no point of reference. I can't compare it to other big pay-per-views like that, and certainly not in the UK, and certainly not in an arena where there's only 20,000 inside. So I can't really say I've got an opinion on it. It'd be easy to sit here and say, oh, it's a disgrace. Ticket prices should be lower, blah, 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 blah. We know how the real world works, don't we? Like, we know that this is all about money, right? It's all about money. And so they are going to try and get as much for those tickets as possible. But what is the conversion rate pound to dollars? I don't know at the moment. I think it's normally pretty close. It's normally like 1.15. So £1.15 is $1 or something like that. Normally, if something is, say, $30, I just take a little off, and it's like £25, something like that. So it's not exactly the same. It's just that dollars is normally that little bit more. So, if you go to a shop and there's a DVD or something that's $50, it's a big box set thing. In my head, I'd be like, it's probably about 43, 44, something like that, pounds. So you just take that little bit off. So 800s, I don't know what that would work out as, $900, $880. It's going to be around that sort of ballpark. It's not like $10,000 or anything like this. You'd put a bit more on. Right. Let's go over to Dynamite. I don't know what we're going to start with. Are we starting with Tony Khan or the Justin Roberts in the ring? How do I watch AEW in Australia? Said Gaming Content Channel. Oh, don't know. Don't know. Does anyone in Australia know how you get AEW? All Atlantic Championship. That was a big roar, wasn't it? I love coffin drop sign. Here's Orange Cassidy. Freshly squeezed. I smell oranges. Right, so I think he's taking on Wheeler Yuta, isn't he? I think he's taking on Wheeler Yuta. Good reaction for Orange Cassidy as he makes his way down. There's a little fan in the front row. Aww. Little fan with double denim on, shades on. He put his hand out. And Orange Cassidy was like... am I the only one who doesn't see the hype with Orange Cassidy? I find him boring, said Kieran. I think Orange Cassidy has lost a bit of steam for me. I like Orange Cassidy, but it's been the same thing for years, hasn't it? It's this. I wish there was more backstage with Orange Cassidy. He's kind of been, like, for me, stuck in with the best friends for way too long. He's not been involved in, like, interesting feuds, and I would love to see, like, you know, some, like, a proper creative story for him, and I would love to see, backstage what he gets up to, you know? I mean, he's got this, obviously, laid-back attitude. The amount of stuff that you could do with that backstage, I just think, you know, I mean, there's so much you could do, but I just don't see that kind of stuff. I mean, not really much to, do you know what I mean, get your teeth into. Just tends to be that he comes out with best friends. That's about it, and it's just the same sort of thing that we see on a regular basis. So it's nice to actually start a Dynamite with him. And we're just seeing that there was some interaction that took place, I believe, on Rampage from last Friday. Wheeler Yuta saying that he is offended that Orange Cassidy is the All-Atlantic champion. So that's basically how we got, again, you know, not much in the way of a story here. There's no big feud here. It's Wheeler Yuta just approaching Orange Cassidy, saying that he's a joke, saying that him being champion offends him, and he's come to take the title away. So, but Orange Cassidy is over, man. I never liked Orange. He's stale. I hate the phony comedy matches, says Maggie. Anyone from the UK answer my question, said Miguel. What was your question, Miguel? Mitchell said, did you see my super chat? Yeah, we spoke about it. But I think we did, didn't we? Let me scroll back up. No, actually, I didn't. Sorry, I must have got confused with someone else. I thought we'd covered it. AEW has got an issue. They tweet cards and no stories. They pride themselves on great matches, but when you don't have an episodic weekly story, a great match is only a talking point for one day. That's true. That's true. I think I completely agree. If you do a great match, then that is, you know, something that people are going to talk about. But unless it's like part of a bigger story, it's not something that tends to stick around. We see, you know, AEW can deliver great matches. They can't deliver great stories, or certainly not on a consistent basis. And it's so frustrating because they've got the talent and they've got the ability to deliver the in-ring. And I don't think you would get too many people saying that, you know, we don't see good in-ring stuff from AEW. We do. I mean, Bryan Danielson, for example, has been delivering plenty of great in-ring matches for them just on his own. So, and Jamie Hayter, I think, has been doing a fantastic job as well. But I mean, you're right. It has to come back. It has to come back to the creative and the stories. It keeps coming back to the same thing, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know why he doesn't hire someone to write the bulk of the shows, and he can still come in and do tweaks and changes. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is it that he has to do everything? Why does Tony have to write everything? Why can't he, like, delegate the majority to someone that can, do you know what I mean, do the heavy work? Willie Yuta on the outside of the ring gets slapped in the face by Claudio. Willie Yuta gets back in as Orange Cassidy goes for Willie Yuta. So yeah, Mitchell, sorry, I really thought that we'd covered it. They're not making Yuta a double champion with the Ring of Honor show starting up, said Daniel. It's hard to keep up. It is hard to keep up. It is. Suicide dive. Right, Bloodwire Radio, shout out to you, said, in regards to my last question about the top of the cards, I would argue that we will never know if talent can do better if chances are taken or never given like Sammy. They had lightning in a bottle. I would argue that we will never know if talent could do better if chances are taken. My counterpoint to that, though, would be that the Bloodline story has been so good. Like, how do you do better than the Bloodline story? We're talking about one of the best ever stories, right? So this is why I don't think that this they're going to be disgruntled. If you're in a company and you want the top job in that company, but the person in that company is killing it, you are not going to feel cheated. You're not going to feel frustrated, per se. You are going to recognize the situation, and the situation is the person in the role is killing it. Now, the opportunity is going to present itself eventually, and you better be ready when it does. But it's hard to criticize what they've done with the Bloodline. If I was a wrestler in WWE, I would be killing it. I'd be smashing it out of the park, giving my all. But I ain't going to be going home and be moaning about the Bloodline and all of this, because you're just going to be looking a bit petty, to be honest. Ratings on SmackDown are like, what, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5? Like, the ratings this year have been the strongest they've been for so long. The Sammy story, the Bloodline story, it's killed it. It has killed it. So, do you know what I mean? If someone wants to go, oh, I should be at the top of the card instead. I mean, no offense, but I don't know that anyone else is going to be able to deliver those kinds of ratings. And even if they can, I'm not convinced that they could deliver 2.6, and actually beat them. Maybe they could. But, and maybe it's just like a different way of looking at it. It's not that there's not ambition. There is ambition, but it's waiting for the moment, the time. And I would recognize that, wow, that person's killing it. That person's killing it. And honestly, if I felt really frustrated, like, oh, I'm just not getting my opportunity, then, you know, that's when maybe you have to start thinking about going to a different company. Because the Bloodline story will end. But even then, there's no guarantee that it will be you that's next. Do you know what I mean? It might be someone else. And it's, you know, this is the world we live in, isn't it? Like, I agree that they should have capitalized on Sammy. I'm not arguing with that point. I think they should have, but I'm just trying to think, like Seth Rollins, for example. You know, Seth Rollins is killing it, doing a great job. And I'm sure he would love to be at the top of the cards. But I don't think we're talking about Seth Rollins leaving WWE out of frustration. I think he recognizes the situation. I think he can look at what's being delivered and be quite satisfied with it, you know?
I never needed you at all.
Let's go down.
I never needed you.
Blood Boy Radio said it's a fair point. Thanks for hearing me out. No, it's a very interesting conversation. I love having these kinds of chats because it's not. There's different ways of looking at it, isn't it? If you are the kind of person that is really, it's got to be me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're really me, and you don't care about anything else or anyone else. Like, you want that spot, and some people have to be that ruthless. I'm not like that. That's not my personality. My personality would be, I'm here. If you put me in that role, I'll kill it. But if the person in that role is already killing it, I can't really make an argument that like it should be me because the person there is doing the job. That's what it comes down to. The person in that position is doing the job. So I can understand why there's no need to change. There's no need to change because you're running a risk, aren't you? What benefit is there in changing when the person in the job is already killing it? The person in the job's already killing it. But there will have to come a time where you do have to take that gamble because you can't leave Roman in that position forever. So, and you do need to build some other stars as well. And put them at the top of the card eventually. But it's an interesting conversation. There could be some people out there that are like, it's me, it's got to be me. I need to be at the top, and maybe those people would end up leaving. But there's no one's left, have they? I haven't heard of any upset at all, or anyone like even making noises about leaving. But no, Blood Boy Radio, it's an interesting conversation. Interesting. We're still underway with this. We got Orange Cassidy down. It's been a pretty hard-hitting match. Orange Cassidy seems to have took it seriously. Wheeler Yuta biting away. The announcement is that the winner of this match will go one-on-one with The Undertaker. Right, apparently we were at commercial break there. So, Wheeler Yuta charging over. Back elbow by Orange Cassidy. We got clothesline coming in. Orange Cassidy getting thrown down. Wheeler Yuta stepping to the outsides. Yuta's climbing up. Looking for splash as Orange Cassidy rolls out the way. Days, are you going to do UFC Big John's return? Absolutely, buds. Yeah, absolutely. Cassidy charging over, looking for a orange punch. Goes down. Wheeler Yuta goes over by the ropes, round the houses. No, down on his feet. Suplex. Wheeler Yuta's very good in the ring. Orange Cassidy, when he's like switched on and like, actually going for it, he is very good in the ring as well. Crowd are making a little bit of noise for this as well. They're not on their feet by any means. They're not chanting away or anything like that. But you can hear like noise, in the background, few things being shouted, people, seemingly engaged. Kicks coming in by Wheeler Yuta. Still to come, Jon Moxley, Evil Uno. Kicks by Orange Cassidy. Not sure those kicks look brilliant, but kicks by Orange Cassidy. I like Wheeler Yuta's ring gear. Looks pretty cool. Was that meant to be a bear hug? He kind of grabbed him in the middle of the ring. I don't know if that was like meant to be a bear hug or not. Shots don't look great from Wheeler Yuta. That's just straight across the industry, to be honest. To the outside. Willie Yuta grabbing hold of that bottom rope. Something that I wish... That's something that I just don't think gets taught enough, you know? It's like striking. So many times we see shots that just look really awful. Feels like we need to get a trainer that could, like, you know, really throw fantastic looking punches. Need to get that person to like train near enough everybody to make some of the shots look better. Because when you're watching a match and then they go down onto the ring and you see like this, you know, it looks so rubbish. Kick out. I like that pin. Nice pin there by Orange Cassidy. He actually grabbed Wheeler Yuta's legs, crossed them over. That's obviously going to make it harder to, like, kick out. I think that's quite clever. Is there a Jushin Liger mask in the crowds? Don't think that's a Liger mask. It does. It's Liger-esque, but I couldn't say that it was 100% Liger. We've got a "This is awesome" chant. Orange Cassidy's got something on his head. What is it? Is that gum? Is he got gum on his own head? Did he have gum on his own head? Did he like? No, I don't think that is a Liger mask.
I never needed you at all.
It looks like
I never needed
El Torito mask. That's what it reminds me of. Do you think Tony's tweet came from frustration and defeats? I'm not sure it came from defeat, but I would say frustration, definitely. If you rewind a year or so ago, AEW was white hot, and now, as you said, he's struggling. Yeah, I think he's frustrated. I don't think he's defeated. I think we're far from defeat. I think that he has potentially tried some things that haven't worked. Saraya, for example, brought her in. He surely was hoping for a big boost to the women's division and to really put that women's division on the map. And like, oh my God, you know, Paige, he's gone and got a woman back wrestling that we just didn't think we would see come back and wrestle. And it's just a bit flat, innit? It's just a bit flat. Back body drop on the edge of the ring. So, you know, he's tried that. The MJF title reign clearly has not resulted in a massive boost to ratings. So that's gone a bit flat. You could say the same for the Jamie Hayter title reign. I don't know that you would do that to boost ratings, though, because she's still relatively unknown. She's still kind of establishing herself. She's still very much, maybe not in the shadow of Britt Baker, but Britt Baker is still around. Do you know what I mean? Like, Jamie Hayter's not a star necessarily in her own right, stood away from Britt Baker yet. She's almost there. You know, she's the women's champion. She could turn on Britt, or Britt could turn on her, and boom, you know, off we go. I think whilst they're still together, like, it still feels like we've got some stabilizers on Jamie Hayter to me. But we've put the belt on her, which is great, and kind of seeing how things are going there. But clearly, she's not a draw. She's not bringing in eyes. Like, the ratings are as low as they've been. She's a fantastic talent. She's one for the future. She could be amazing in the future, but it's not doing it right now, is it? So, you know, he's tried a few things, and they just haven't come off, to be honest. The Elite coming back, you'd think that'd be a massive boost, wouldn't you? Went for a 3 there, but Wheeler Yuta got his shoulder up. It's a really good match, this. Really good match. 1, 2, Orange Cassidy. Kick out by Wheeler Yuta. Fighting on the edge of the ring. Fighting on the outside of the ring. Orange punch connects. Wheeler Yuta was down on his knees in the center. And Orange Cassidy gets the 3 count. Felt really nice, that did, towards the conclusion, and did have people on their feet. We had some close falls. Very good. Put in your scores out of 5 for that. Put your scores out of 5 for that. I thought that was really good. For me, that would be like maybe like a 4-star match, 3.75 to 4. It's good. Bloodwire Radio, do you think Tony's tweak? We read that one. Yeah, I think frustration, not defeat. Too soon for defeat. Orange Cassidy wins. AEW has got the 3rd best women's division in America. They're way behind WWE and Impact, says Daniel. Kian, hello. Shout out to you. Orange Cassidy on his feet. Got his arms out. Wants to embrace. I tell you what I liked about the match. Some of the pins were really, really good. Crowd are chanting, hug it out. Claudio is like, you, come here. Oh. Willie Yuta's in trouble. You come here. I told you it was dinner time. Orange Cassidy gets his hand raised then. We're backstage with Renee and Evil Uno. How have you been preparing for this match? Hangman, we're backstage with Evil Uno and Hangman. Evil Uno said, I don't want you to get involved in our match tonight because every time you say that you don't want us around, all I hear is that we're not on your level. Yeah, that must be all right, I kind of like that. Now we got Ricky Starks. I mean, like, how long are we into the show? What, 20-odd minutes into the show? I think that was a great first match. Then we've just had interesting locker room interview. No one got attacked. And I really like the little interaction there between Evil Uno and Hangman. Now we've got absolute Ricky Starks coming down in a suit. Ricky Starks is over with the fans. Yeah, great reception for Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is here to talk about his Royal Rumble experience, said JB. 37 days till WrestleMania. I can't wait. Cody will be the new WWE champion, says Kiam. It's about time a member of the Dark Order stepped up, said Jim. Ricky to NXT, said TJB. Ledge Killer says we're at commercial break. We are. Random boxing question. My dad was a favorite of Chavez Sr. Don't know much about how good he was. Is he in top 10? Chavez Sr., I mean, he is a legend, fought in multiple different divisions. I think he had like over 100 boxing matches. And yeah, I mean, he was fantastic. Top 10 boxers ever? I wouldn't put him in top 10 boxers ever, but he was a fantastic boxer. And your dad's favorite. That's a cool name, credible name. I think you've got to know your boxing to like be into him. So yeah, no, very cool. Good. Very good. Big Time Back said, take this with a grain of salt. Zero News tweeted that according to Fightful, the announcement is an AEW reality series. Yeah, touched on it, yeah. Ricky just going to stand in the ring for 6 minutes, said Corvids. Yeah, but that's nothing that WWE don't do they? We do that. We have, I think Raw, we had Asuka come down, went to commercial break. When we came back, did something backstage. Went back to the ring. Poor Asuka had to be standing in there all that time. It's just a thing they do in modern wrestling, isn't it? What AEW wrestler do you see coming to WWE? Said Tony. Well, that's a difficult one to answer because I think there's a lot of talent in AEW, and I think that, I mean, you could take a fair few of them. I mean, you could see the Acclaimed on Raw easily. You could see Ricky Starks in WWE. You could see Wardlow in WWE. Bryan Danielson, got high hopes for him. I mean, don't forget, a good chunk of their roster came from WWE. And we know that, they were interested in bringing some of them back. Swerve, for example, apparently was approached. Andrade wanted to go, but he's still under contract. I think Triple H has always liked Aleister Black as well, Malachi Black. So, him going back wouldn't have been the biggest shock in the world. I think Britt Baker is clearly fantastic. She's been the face of that women's division. If you was to say who is the face of the men's division, the tag division, the women's division, I don't think you're going to have too many people disagree that Britt Baker is the face of the women's division. You can argue about the tag division. It's probably the Bucks, maybe the Lucha Bros. Maybe some people would go FTR, but I just don't think they've been on TV enough to be the face of the AEW tag division. It's probably the Bucks. But yeah, Britt Baker, definitely. Apparently they're interested in Kenny, aren't they? It's another one that's been spoke about, so. Right, we are back. We got Ricky Starks in the ring. Ricky. They'll get mad at me for going over on time, so. Got something in his pocket. It keeps popping out. You don't want a rematch against me, Chris. I accept that. I'm going to move on. Okay. I'm going to move on. An open challenge? So, are we going to get Jericho coming out? I can't imagine we are just abandoning that, are we? So, open challenge. And here's Jericho Appreciation Society. Okay. It's because red wine helps the body produce endorphins in small amounts. I think just in boiling dilutes alcohol effects. Trini knows everything there is to know about alcohol. Kian said Jon Moxley was considering going back to WWE after his last contract expired, but then decided to re-sign. If you heard he was going to do after that. No, I don't know. I don't know that he would know what he's going to do after that. Kevin, shout out to you. Jericho versus Ricky at Revolution. Jericho's come out. He's got spikes all over that jacket. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say a little controversial. Honestly, I mean, I just have never felt this Judas thing, and I know that the fans enjoy singing it, but like, look at Ricky Starks, man. The optics aren't right. Ricky Starks has come out and said that, you know, I've got loads to say, but we're pushed for time. And he's the babyface, and then out comes Jericho, the heel, and we have to wait for his song to play and like go all the way through just because the fans in attendance. I don't even think it's the fans as much at home. I think it's just for them in attendance to sing it. Like, I really would take that out. Let's freshen things up, because we keep getting shots of the baby face in the ring, like doing this. Let's have a look, see what Jericho's got to say. I can beat you anytime, any place, anywhere. Why have you come out then? Ricky Starks issued an open challenge, and Jericho has said, I can beat you anytime, any place, anywhere. You are not on my level. Peter Avalon is going to answer the open challenge. Judas effects. He gets taken down. Peter Avalon, didn't even recognize that was Peter Avalon, you know. Didn't even recognize him. But he just got taken out by Jericho. Jericho making his way down to the ring. Brad were chanting, I think we want Peter or something, and he told them to shut up. Those spikes are all over. Maybe I should take that contract and have a rematch with you. Is it just this segment's all over the place, man? Jericho, I mean, this segment was good with Ricky Starks coming out. And then Jericho's come out and said, I can beat you. Like, you're below me. Someone then tries to answer the open challenge. He knocks them out. And now he comes to the ring and goes, well, maybe I will sign the contract. I think you've got it. I think you've got the ability to get the job done by yourself, said Ricky. I don't get this segment. Are you telling me you don't think I can beat you? Ricky Starks then went, nah. No, actually, yeah, I think you can beat me. Ba, ba, ba. So Jericho said, I'll sign it, and I'll keep the Jericho Appreciation Society away. Okay. Except he doesn't have a pen. Ricky does. Of course he does. He's not going to just bring a bit of paper, is he? Why has Jericho been fooled by that? Why has Jericho been fooled by that? Did he think Ricky Starks had just brought the contract? Clicks the pen like he did when he had the list. There we go. Boom. Unofficially, official Tunican paid this crowd to laugh and cheer as much as possible. No one outsmarts the Ojo. I didn't like that. I thought that was just a mess. I mean, I thought Ricky Starks with the open challenge was interesting. And then I thought the Jericho coming out, okay, we know where this is going. But then there was just too much, like, I'm not going to face you. No, I am going to face you. Do you think you can beat me? Yes, I think you can beat me. Do you really think I can beat you? Yeah, I think I can beat you. Maybe I'll sign it then. Blah, blah, blah. It's like so much just faffing. Like, it just wasn't entertaining. I didn't find it entertaining. Just like, you know that he's going to sign it. I think that there could have been a stronger segment there. If the open challenge is good, and if they wanted it to make it seem like Ricky had just fooled Jericho into doing it, I think you could have done that a stronger way as well. I don't even think that was clever. I didn't find that clever or entertaining or interesting. Like, I wasn't feeling that segment. But I like Ricky Starks, and no Jericho Appreciation Society. That's obviously going to be a good thing for Revolution, isn't it? That's going to be a positive. Just a one-on-one match. Jericho, Starks. Fine. Right. Here is Big Bill and Moriarty. That was another point that was made that I saw on this tweet. They were saying that... Oh, here's the Acclaimed. Hang on. Yo, now listen. Listen. Bill, your girl just texted me. She says that you're SAWFT, which is a really good line. You're soft. That was good. There was a reference at the start I didn't understand, which I'm sure played to American audiences. Gonna chase you out like you're some name I didn't recognize. I think he said, like, your hand's in a cast because you touch yourself too much to Stokely Hathaway. But I really like that SAWFT line. I thought that was really good towards Big Bill. So, yeah, some good stuff in the Open by the Acclaimed. Crowd going crazy for the Acclaimed as well. That is definitely... We've done plenty of criticizing of Tony Khan. I mean, we've basically done an hour and 40 minutes of it. But the rise of the Acclaimed has been a fantastic success for AEW. That has been a home run. Super over with the crowds. everyone's intrigued by the raps and what's going to get said. When the bell rings, they put on great matches. Yeah, they're brilliant. And I don't know if you could get away with it on AEW, you know? The whole scissor me, daddy ass and all that kind of stuff. And the scissoring in the crowds, where people bring big cardboard scissors and do the scissoring thing. I don't know that you could do that on Raw. I don't know that you could get away with that. If they were watered down a little, I think it would still work because I think they're great performers. But I mean, the scissoring thing is so over. Oof. If Cody doesn't take the title off Roman, then who does? My money would be on Seth, said Jada. I think it's going to be Cody, buddy. I think it'll be Cody. I think Cody will do it, and if Cody doesn't do it at WrestleMania, I think Cody does it further down the road. I think Seth is a made man, really. You could make the argument of like, will he be bigger if he was to beat Roman? And maybe he would. Maybe he would. Maybe there is a level that he can still get to. You know, he's not the face of the company, is he? So he's just that one step below. He's not the same level as Roman in presentation, because there's only one person that gets to, do what Roman does, carry both belts, main event the premium live events, and that's not Seth. So there is another level for Seth to go to. So I don't know, perhaps it would help Seth, of course, but man, I mean, it would be so much bigger for Cody, because Cody is, he's had a handful of matches since he came back to WWE. Obviously, that injury means that we're having to try and build some momentum for him as we get to WrestleMania. And I think they've got big plans for Cody. I think they see Cody as being another Seth. I don't think they see Cody as another Roman. I think they see him as another Seth. As in, like, he is going to be a good worker option that you can always turn to. But is Cody going to be the next Roman that's going to main event multiple WrestleManias, be the face of the company for the next 5-6 years? I don't think so. I think that he is a Seth where you can turn to him, use him, he can have the ball, he can run with the ball, but you might get the ball off him, like, after a little while. Not like Roman, where, I mean, honestly, you could make an argument for Roman to carry the title till WrestleMania 40. You could make that argument. There's plenty of people that have said, like, Cody shouldn't get the belt at first time of trying. Austin 316, who joins us a lot, wants Roman to get to 1,000 days. So I think there's a lot of people that would love to see Roman continue his title reign. And I saw tweets, people saying like, he hasn't fought Bray yet. He's still got to face Bray Wyatt. And there's quite a few other names actually that he's not faced that he could compete against if he was to continue as champion. So, but I think everything's pointing to me towards it being Cody. It's Cody's time, isn't it? It's Cody's time. So honestly, if it's not Cody at WrestleMania, I think it's Cody at SummerSlam. Elbow drop by Big Bill. The guns have come out. Max improvement on the mic in the last few years has been outstanding, said Alex. Is Gunther worth taking belts from Roman? I think he is, says Berger. Well, Gunther is definitely going to be a world champion. I've got no doubt about that. The only thing is, you wouldn't really end Roman's run by putting like a heel over. Because really you want the crowd going crazy, like what we saw with Sammy, You would want it to be a baby face. So, Seth's a face at the moment. Cody's obviously a face. Sammy is obviously a face at the moment. So, all of those were great options. Gunther's a heel. And I think will stay a heel for the foreseeable future. I mean, he might eventually become like a bit of a cool, badass type, Do you know what I mean? He's still presented the same way, but just he's helping the faces rather than going against them. You know, you could do it. It could work. Look at Brock, very similar. Do you know what I mean? Brock's still a badass. Still no nonsense. It's just now he's going after the bad guys rather than going after the good guys. But I can't see that happening for Gunther for quite a while, to be honest. I think we need to keep building him. Plus, I also think they want him. I think they want him to break the records for the Intercontinental Championship. Because it's not that long, you know. It's not that long. The IC title record is 400 and some days. It's like a year and a half. It's beatable. It's beatable. That's the all-time Intercontinental record, 400 and some days. Guns came down, but they got chased away. Lee Moriarty looking for the pin in the ring. Got high hopes for the Guns as well. Moriarty in the corner. Going for a kick. Duck underneath there by Bowens. Looking for a backslide. 1, 2. Comes up onto his feet. Looking for a clothesline. Oof. That was nice. What's it called? The Arrival. Plants Moriarty down. We got Max Caster. Elbow drop. 1, 2, 3. And it is a win for the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed pick up a victory. So, crowd enjoyed that. The Acclaim get their arms raised. It's a sign in the crowd that says Bryan Danielson is mid. Look at that. There is a sign in the crowd that says Bryan Danielson is mid. There's another one at the front that said DBZ is mid. Is there a reason for this? Here's Tony Schiavone. The Acclaimed doing the three-way scissoring. Great win, that. For the Acclaimed. Here's Tony. Tony Schiavone. Is he going to bring Christian Cage? Bloodwire Radio said, do ratings do better with top titles on heels? To be honest, I don't know that there's any evidence that it makes a difference. I think it all depends on the wrestler, the story, the situation. I think what I would say is it's probably easier if it's on a heel, because what you have then is just a constant stream of baby faces, which if you've built them right, the fans want to see succeed. You've got this constant stream, maybe not as hot as what we saw Sammy, but a constant stream of baby faces, which, you know, is this the time it ends? Is this the one that's going to do it? And so, you know, that should be a nice constant stream of ratings.
I never needed you.
It's the chase. The money is in the chase. It's much harder to have a babyface champion fighting off challengers than it is to have a heel champion who's trying to fight off the which babyface is it, you know? So I would imagine it being easier to book a heel champion, but it's an interesting one in regards to like what draws more money. I don't know that there is a difference when it comes to ratings. I think it's easier to book a heel champion, and I think that I think it depends on story. You know, we can all sit here and go, well, Hogan was a face champion, Cena was a face champion. I mean, Cena, like, you know, had a great run as champion with ratings as a face. Look at Hulkamania, absolutely fantastic. But then you look at the flip of the coin and you look at Roman right now as a heel champion, and he's killing it as well. So both sides work. Both sides work. It just really depends on the character and the story. So Christian Cage was about to talk to Tony Schiavone, and Jungle Boy came out and tried to attack Right now, Jungle Boy is getting smashed face first into a chair that's down on the floor. Tony Schiavone, I think Tony Schiavone did one. Tony Schiavone ran away. Has he hid behind a sign? Can you see him in the background? Tony Schiavone. So we just saw Christian. He's gone now, but Christian walked forwards, put his arms out like this to the crowds. In the background, you could just see Tony Schiavone peering from behind one of those screens. He was just sort of like having a little... Don't like it. You'd think he would have been around enough for this by now. Right, we've got Bloods. We got Bloods! Yeah! Just bleed. So, Jungle Boy has got Bloods. Oh, this Wardlow sit-down was good last week. I had praise for that. That was good. Didn't Blade just smashed a blood tablet on his head? In all fairness, if you get into professional wrestling, I'd imagine you get into professional wrestling because you want to have the reaction of the crowds. You want to go in there and compete and battle for championships. Something a bit weird about blading to me. I know it's part of the business to get color, get bloods, whatever. That's a part of the business that I'd be like, I wouldn't want to do it. It's not that I'm squeamish about bloods or would be like, oh, I can't cut myself or anything. Nothing like that. I would just be like, oh, it's just not why it's not why I'm in the business. But like, there's times where you're going to need bloods. And then like you'd do it, of course. Like, I mean, it's the age-old thing. I mean, I think AEW just go to blood way too often. I mean, who's not said that now? I feel like everyone on the planet at some point has said that. Whether even if they don't watch AEW, I think they've probably said that. But like, if he has just released like a blood capsule instead of Blade himself, I really don't mind that. I really don't mind that. Something unsettling about cutting yourself. Like, I don't know. It's been part of the business forever, though. Here's Skye, Blue, and Saraya. I don't think it needed it, though. I think that's what it comes down to. If it was needed, like we've seen some incredible cage matches in the past. You know, I'm thinking like old Starcades where, you know, we had blood everywhere, and, you know, in war games and things like that. Like, I totally understand why you would. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like for that little spot there, I wouldn't have done it. I don't think it was needed. It didn't make that moment more shocking or anything. Like, I just don't think it was needed. So, do you know, if anything, because I don't think it was needed, if he's thought to himself, I ain't bladed. I ain't gonna blade. Give me a capsule. I've actually got more respect for him. I've got more respect for him. If he respects his body enough whereby he's thought to himself, do you know what? I don't need blood here. I don't really need it. Why am I going to cut myself open? Got any tomato ketchup? So I got more respect for that than if he actually did blade. Saraya has put a stretch on Skye Blue right now. Booze for Saraya. I think Tony Storm came down with her. Against the ropes goes Skye Blue. Nice. That's a nice little callback, isn't it? With used to see AJ Lee doing that to Paige back in the day. got a little bit of a AJ Lee vibe, I suppose. Sky Blue. Sky Blue in the corner as Saraya charges over. Back elbow there by Sky Blue. Boot coming in. Sky Blue going up. Strike to the midsection by Saraya. Saraya going up. Forearms to the side of the head there by Saraya. Going to go for a suplex. Isn't it mental that this is Paige? Mental, innit? It's just mental. Charging over. Bang. Onto the knee. Couldn't see if that connected. Knee strike coming in. Against the ropes. Drop kick side of the head by Sky Blue. Going for the cover. Well, oh. She got distracted by Tony. Aubrey got distracted. So Sky Blue was looking for the 3 count. Tony Storm distracts. Kick coming in by Saraya. She's got Sky Blue turning her over, stepping through. Oh, that's a good move, this is. Nice submission. I forget what it's called. It's where she puts them over her legs, turns them over, pulls them back. What's that called? It's got a specific name. I don't know if they might have had to have changed the name, because she used to have loads of things like the page turner, which is where she would wipe the legs away from underneath them. You probably wouldn't go with that being the name now that she's not called Paige. Jamie, hey, I like Paige better than Skye. Camel clutch. It's not camel clutch. This is DMD country, and they spray a sign. So they've got their spray paint. There's Jamie Hayter. Tony and Saraya running away. Here is Ruby. There's 2 of you. One of her, you can knock her down. Oh, Ruby wants a title, so she's actually talking to Jamie. God, we've got a lot of moving parts here, haven't we? We've got Britt and Jamie. Then Ruby came out. Ruby is now sending a message to Jamie saying... That means belt. But the ending was dumb. When is the announcement? Oh, it's going to be... I think they know, don't they? I think they know that everyone's waiting for the announcement, so it's going to be at the end. Going to be at the end. Right, we are at commercial break. Oh, actually, we could do halftime scores. We can do halftime scores. Where is the thing? Where is the thing? Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody, it's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. I found it. Sorry, I was looking at top 10 moves of Paige from 3 years ago. Video on YouTube from LCW06. Top 10 moves of Paige. Number 3 is the Paige Turner. That's when she hits the back of their legs and they go over. Number 2 is the Rampage, which is where she picks them up here, grabs their head, and then goes backwards. And number 1 is PTO. PTO, which the page tap out, I think it was. So PTO, that's what it was called. That move that she just won with. And that explains why, because Excalibur knows the name of every move that's ever been created. It might explain why Excalibur didn't refer to the name of the move, because I don't know, now that she's not called Paige, what they're going to call that move. It is crazy, isn't it? This is something about modern wrestling. I suppose it's not even modern wrestling, but it's something about wrestling that's a bit annoying. It'd be good if, like, all the moves just had a standard name, done. But, you know, the same move can have different names for different wrestlers, even though it's, do you know what I mean? Like, that move could have been, I don't know, the Fisherman's Hook or whatever, right? Could have been called something like that, and then it just stays called that. Whoever uses it, wherever they use it. But, like, that move was a PTO, page tap out. And now I don't think it's going to be called that anymore. And now we've got to wait to find out what they're going to call it. Here's American Dragon. Bryan Danielson on a 9-match win streak. Yes, chance. Yes, 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 it is, yes. Did you see my members chat? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me go up. Mitchell said, did you hear the one about the vacuum? It sucks. Boos for that. And I don't even hear it. Don't even know if you heard those boos. I'll turn it right up so you can. Even that's not loud. And I really need to make sure this is coming across. Daniel Bryan in the ring. I've boosted it by 5 dB. Seems like you people want me to win the AEW Championship, says Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson. What's my score? Probably about a 6.5, something like that. It's been all right. It's been all right. Actually, I mean, I think it's been much stronger than last week. Okay, so he's talking about MJF. He said, let me get this straight. He hates me, and then he lists all the stuff MJF has done. MJF. Oh, William Regal mentioned. MJF hospitalized my mentor, William Regal, and he hates me. MJF comes out. I'm amazed that they allowed the William Regal mention. I know who you really are, said MJF. And I know who I really am. I got thrown away like trash by anyone that's ever claimed that they loved me. God, wasn't it only just the other week how he said that he had a car crash and switched seats with his girlfriend or whatever? So MJF talks about how he wanted to start a family with a girl and the girl ended up leaving. It's probably because he drove into a wall and switched seats with her. I mean, women don't forget those kind of things. She left me because I'm unlovable, said MJF. The only thing that makes me feel loved is Triple B. Four out of 8 singles champions use Spear, Charlotte, Braun, and Roman, who holds 2, said Jaden. Corvid said MJF used to take Penelope Ford, but broke up with her. Then he dated Alley Cat, says Corvids. Ricky could go toe-to-toe with MJF on the microphone. Oh, he did, and it was good. He did. So MJF is saying that Danielson takes his wife and his kids and his happy family life for granted. I hate you. You've had more concussions and head traumas than anyone in the history of this business. And you're still in my sport. Every time you step in that ring, you're saying wrestling is more important than your family and children. It's a weird promo from a heel, isn't it? I think this is a weird promo from a heel. You love wrestling more than your family. I'm going to punish you, said MJF. Birthdays, do the muscle man dance, said Theo. I'm going to punish you for everything you've taken for granted. I find this a bit strange. I mean, he's saying that you take your family for granted. Don't bring my children into this, otherwise I'll kick the out of you. That's good. Hi, Birdie. It's your Uncle Max. I'm going to make Dad pay for all his selfishness. Why is Danielson allowing this? Why is he allowing this? Why has he not jumped him? He's just said, if you speak about my family, I'll be... And he's literally then just turned to the camera and said, hey, Birdie. The second he said Birdie, I have no idea why this is being allowed to continue. As a dad, I get this promo, said Luke. Bree modes confirmed. Now he steps in the ring and Danielson unloads. Right, they're brawling away. Maybe MJF is trying to say something like, too bad you took him for granted. I'm going to hurt you so bad that they won't recognize you, said Jennifer. I think, to be honest, it's another example of like the Paul Heyman promo, which I didn't feel that he's trying to get into his head. So like the point I made during the Heyman promo on the other week, or was it Monday? Or blurs into one, was that like, Cody will have thought about the responsibilities of being champion. You don't need to tell Cody what it means to be champion. I mean, Cody's just come from being like in a very high position in a wrestling company. He knows arguably better than anyone what it takes and what the requirements are for a champion. So the fact that like Paul Heyman was saying, 200 days on the road, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. This, as I said at the time, that's not going to be news to Cody, and you're not going to change Cody's mind. Like, you're not going to say all of that stuff and Cody's going to go, do you know what? Never thought about that. Do I really want to be champion? Like, that's just not going to happen, because he surely has thought about that. He was in a very high executive role in AEW. The response came back from people in the chat at the time was like, don't think about it like that. He's just trying to get in his head. He's just trying to mess him up, confuse him. He's just trying to throw him off the scent, blah, 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 blah. My counter to that was, I think there's other ways you can do that. I think there's better ways you can do that. I think basically telling him stuff that he already knows, it didn't do it for me. I just didn't think it was that great, right? It wasn't a disaster or anything, but I just didn't think it was that great. This one feels a bit similar in the sense of MJF is coming out. He's saying a load of stuff, which, he's saying you take your family for granted. That's a load of rubbish, isn't it? That's a load of rubbish. There ain't no way that Danielson takes his family for granted. He's a great family man. He loves his kids. Wrestling is his passion. So, it's just weird. But having the heel question that is a bit strange. But it's, I think, again, a psychological thing to try and just mess with Danielson. Just mess with him. Simple as that. Just try and get into his head. I think if you try to listen to that promo and take what MJF is saying as being 100% real and legit, I think it's a bit weird. But I think if you look at it more from the idea that he is just trying to unnerve Danielson, he's just trying to get into his head, he's just trying to make him uncomfortable, and maybe like just get Danielson to question, like, am I being selfish? Should I be there for my family rather than here in Phoenix? Do you know what I mean? Like, away from my kids. I have to think that Danielson's probably thought about that and had many conversations with Brie Bella about that as well. I would imagine every time he leaves his kids, he's fully aware that he doesn't want to do that. And, he's going off to do wrestling when he could stay home with the kids. So, again, it feels like another promo where we're saying things that I can only imagine that Danielson has thought about and has given thought to. But again, similar to the Heyman one. I think it's just a way for the heel to get into the head of the face. These ones, though, they're very interesting because some people watch these and think they're very clever and think that they're, and I'm not laying into those people, right? I'm not saying anything right about that. I'm just saying that there are people that watch these and go, wow, that was so clever, such an interesting angle, such an interesting way to approach it. I just always find these to be a bit underwhelming. I don't find them to be clever. I don't find them to be like, oh, kill shots, you know. The one bit in there that I really liked was when Danielson was like, don't you dare talk about my family. And immediately MJF turned to the camera and was like, hey, birdie. That was great. That bit was great. I really enjoyed that. But as I said, Danielson then should have absolutely walloped him. Should have absolutely started, like, he should not have had chance to have said anything else after that. You know, Danielson just standing there allowing this to play out. I mean, there's every chance that Danielson's kids are watching. So why didn't he jump out the ring and smack him around? I mean, it's not like we didn't get a brawl moments later anyway. As soon as MJF steps into the ring, we get the brawl. So, yeah, there's definitely things about that promo that I would have changed, tweaked. It's not a disaster or anything. But it ain't a promo that I'm in love with. Match will be good, though, won't it? We've got, I think, Zero Mero chants. Does that mean the Lucha Bros are in the ring? We're backstage with Britt and Jamie. I think someone else is also deserving. Jamie Hayter says that Ruby and Saraya, like, she can't tell who deserves it more, so let's do a triple threat. And I tell you what, it just made me think. I was just thinking, like, triple threats, you know, obviously fun, whatever. When it's for a championship, I wonder if the rule should be that you should pin the champion. Because the problem with Jamie saying, I'll take you both on, right? Looking like a strong champion, is that if Saraya pins Ruby, Jamie's belt is done. That's it. It's gone. Jamie's belt is out of there. So, like, she puts herself in a very, very difficult situation, a situation which is sort of in her control. But if she gets beaten up on the outside of the ring and can't get back into the ring quick enough to stop a submission or stop a 3 count or whatever, like, that's it. Even though she wasn't beaten, even though she didn't tap or sell or get knocked down to the point where she couldn't get out of a 3 count, her belt still goes. So I wonder if, like, for championships, you could bring in that kind of a rule, you know? Or, like, she could at least add that as a stipulation. I'll give you both a match, but it's on my terms. If you want this belt, either of you want this belt, you've got to pin me for it or submit me for it. I don't want this you pinning each other nonsense, right? I don't want any of that. That could have been a fun little stipulation. You see, they use triple threats as a way of just getting the belt off a champion and onto someone else without it being the champ that looks weak, you know? Like Saraya could pin Ruby and Saraya could be the new women's champion. And it protects Jamie. So, you know, as a tool for that, it works very well. But I think if you was going to use that, it makes a lot more sense for an official to make it a triple threat rather than the champion. It reminds me a lot of, do you remember Big E at day one? Big E at day one was like, I think it started as like he was going to defend in a triple threat and he was like, I'm a fighting champion, I can do it. And then all of a sudden it became a fatal four-way and he's like, doesn't matter, I'm a fighting champion, I can do it. And then on the day of the show, Brock Lesnar got added and all of a sudden it was a fatal five-way. And then we went backstage and he's like, I'm a fighting champion, it'll be all right. I'll find a way. It's like, mate, you shouldn't be this happy. You shouldn't be all right with this. You are being screwed. Your championship is now being defended in a fatal five-way. And the odds are you ain't leaving as champion now. And lo and behold, he didn't. But going into it, it was like, it's fine. It'll be all right. I always find that strange. I always put myself in the mind of the champion, you know? And it's like, I would not be all right with that. I would not be all right with that. I sure as hell wouldn't be requesting a triple threat. Because as I said, you don't have to be pinned or submitted to lose your belt. The belt that you fought so hard for. Scratched and clawed your way up and then, oh dear, it's gone. Oh dear. I did have a belt once. It's gone now. I don't know. I wonder if that's I wonder if they are going to take the belt off Jamie Hayter. Are they going to put her in that triple threat to make her look really strong? She went in there and survived that type of match. She survived Ruby and Saraya. Or do they do what we said and they put the belt on Saraya? Because as we said, the ratings haven't been brilliant whilst Jamie has been champion. I don't blame her, though. I don't think that we could look at Jamie as being someone that's going to bring in ratings. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's not why you would put the belt on Jamie. I can't imagine Tony thought, I'll put the belt on Jamie. Ratings will go through the roof. Like, I can't imagine he thought that. She had to have been seen as a project. You know, she's going to need building and getting out there and... I don't know. It'd feel like a weird time to take the belt off her, to be honest. I wouldn't take the belt off her now. I wouldn't take the belt off her. But there is no AEW on TV here in Quebec. So thanks for this. I love the streams. If I was in the UK, I would buy you a pint, said Jennifer. Jennifer, shout out to you. Appreciate the kind words. We are underway with the Tag Team Battle Royal at the moment. We're 25 minutes into the second hour. Got the likes of Butcher and Blade, Jeff Hardy, Jay Lethal in there. We've got Lucha Bros in there, so that's why we had the Cero Miero chants in the background of that promo. So we're battling away at the moment. Mitchell said MJF is the Dwight of The Office in AEW. Yeah. He is. You're right. Good comparison. Right, we've got a delayed standing vertical suplex by John Silver in the middle of the ring. We've got Danhausen on the outside. There's quite a few people on the outside, actually. Satnam Singh. Silver showing off the guns. Blade getting some focus now by Silver. Jeff Jarrett. Kick to the midsection. Dante Martin. Crossbody gets caught. Oof. Aussie Open are in this as well. Lovely work. Yeah, well, we're really this Tony Khan announcement. I actually thought it would be the start of hour 2. I thought it'd be in the middle of the show. I thought it would come out at the end of hour 1, and then that would take us into hour 2. But the fact that we still haven't had it, I mean, the longer you make people wait for it, the more it's going to build in people's minds. So, I don't know. I hope it's going to be... I don't know. I just don't know what to expect. Right, we were at commercial break. Obviously, we still stick to the action on Fight TV. We've got plenty of teams still in there. Lucha Bros are still in there. Aussie Open. Get eliminated. Aussie Open have gone by Butcher and Blades. Butcher on the outside of the ring, edge of the ring. Big boots by Reynolds. Silver moves out the way by the Blades. Tell you what, Butcher and Blade are getting... Butcher, Blades, Dark Order are getting plenty of moments. Blade gets eliminated. I tell you what, I mean, like, could they go with Silver and Reynolds? I'm thinking the tag champs are the Guns, so that means we need a face team. Silver and Reynolds could be definitely an option. Rest with Andy said the announcement is that Scripps has jumped ship. Now that's the sign-in they need. I think he does. He lives over on NXT Level Up, doesn't he? In the corner, he gets eliminated. Austin, hello. Hope you're well. Chris said, I've heard it could be something about AEW house shows. JB said the announcement could be that Rampage is being cancelled due to low ratings. Don't think so. That would be a hard one to spin as exciting unless you're replacing it with something new. So, you know, like how WWECW got replaced with NXT. You know, if they was to say we're getting rid of Rampage, we're going to start the reality show in that time slot instead. I mean, I've got to admit, I don't think that would do that great, to be honest. A reality show is very Ms. and Mrs. It's very Total Divas. You know, traditionally they've got a certain amount of ratings, but they ain't gonna do Dynamite numbers. Not that I think that, I don't know that the expectation is Dynamite numbers on a late time slot on a Friday, for example. So I don't know. I can't see it being that Rampage is done. Ledge Killer, shout out to you. Maybe it's something to do with the Collision trademark they just got, said Blaze. That's good shout, yeah. Did you hear apparently it was spelt wrong? I heard that apparently it was spelt wrong. Don't know if that's true or if it's just, you know, people throwing shades or whatever. Fake news, it could be. But I heard they put a trademark in and it was spelt incorrectly. Shot to the midsection. Did you see that Sonya Deville got engaged? I didn't. No, that's nice. Pleased for her. Danhausen is in the ring. Danhausen is out the ring. Yeah, Danhausen chucked over the top. Gonna curse them. Danhausen curses. JAS and Jericho Appreciation Society, and they get eliminated immediately. Danhausen's like, you out of there. Okay, we've got 6 people left. I don't get the hype for Danhausen. Do you know what I tell you, we don't really ever talk about it, but like, clearly I'm not a fan of Supernatural Wrestling, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's only been once that I've seen him do it on like William Regal, and William Regal's like done something weird in response. I really love Danhausen, like, cursing people and then nothing happening to them, right? But just by chance, something bad then happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was a great example of him, like, and the crowd were like, oh, he's going to do it, he's going to do it. They've been cursed. And then because they were distracted, they got thrown out to the outsides. I think that's so clever. I think that's really clever. Because people can enjoy the cursing, and he can go around saying he's cursing people. We know that, like, the curse doesn't really work, but it's just by coincidence they got eliminated. But he can, like, you know, and you can make a thing out of it. I really like that. I really like that. And you could, like, you can go around still cursing other people. And, you know, maybe before someone is just about to go into a meeting with Tony Khan, they're talking trash to him, he curses them. They go into the meeting, it's bad news. And, like, you know, the curse works. I really like it. I really like it. I think, you see, that to me is clever. That's creative. That's creative. That's clever. I find that clever. Right, we've got fighting in the ring, out the ring. Butcher in the center. We've got there's chairs. The cameras keep cutting. There's, like, things going on here. Jeff Jarrett. Is Jeff Jarrett still in this? He is still in this. So he didn't go over the top rope. So at the moment, we've got the heels working together. So Trent is being worked over by Butcher, Jay Lethal, and Jeff. Dante Martin is in there. Phoenix is in there. Didn't see what happened to Penta. Maybe you like it because he cursed you, said Kyle. Maybe. I wish I could curse days, said Austin. Thus far, have you enjoyed this more than last week, said Zach? Yeah, I have. I have enjoyed it more than last week, yes. I know that we had a few criticisms of, like, the MJF promo. It still wasn't a bad promo, but we just kind of got into why I didn't think it was an amazing promo, because, you know, there'll be people that are like, oh my God, that was amazing. It was really clever. Like, it was an interesting way to approach it, blah, 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 blah. We kind of broke it down as to what it was and why I didn't see it as being, like, super clever. But it was still decent. I really didn't like the Jericho thing, though. That just seemed like a lot of faffing around to me. First match I thought was really good. Saraya against Skye Blue was okay. Just seemed to be a lot of noise going on outside the ring with, like, Britt, Ruby, Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on. That's obviously led to the triple threat match for Revolution. We've still got the Tony announcement to come. Obviously, this Battle Royal is getting to the business end. We're starting to see some quick eliminations here. But yeah, this has been a better week. Right now, we've got Trent in there with Jeff and Jay Lethal. So, yeah, at the moment, we've got Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. They're kicking away at Trent. I mean, I'm thinking Trent's winning this. But he probably shouldn't. It's 2-on-1. They're just throwing shots at him at the moment. He's down on his knees. Power slap. Road to the title. New competition series next. Haven't seen the power slap ratings, you know. Trent eliminates, almost eliminated Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal holds on. Goes over the other side. Jeff Jarrett holds on. Okay, here's Trent. Satnam Singh is holding Jeff and Jay. Pushes them both back up. Jesus, he is tall, said Loki, isn't he? He is. Trent Beretta thrown over the top. Is holding on to the top rope. Over the top goes Jay Lethal again. They just can't. Orange Cassidy has got Trent on his shoulders. The heels are celebrating. Jay Lethal eliminated. Clothesline. That leaves us Jeff Jarrett and Trent. There's loads of like outside interference, and bottom line is, look, it's Trent and it's Jeff. Trent grabs Jeff. Satnam grabs Jeff. Goes over, puts him back into the ring. Look underneath, round the back. Right, over the top rope. Trent is eliminated. Wow. Do you know what? Fair play. Fair play. I thought you could see that from a mile away, and I was not feeling it. There was a lot of like just silliness. And it just felt like we were just going to get to Trent getting the win. But that's it. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see Jeff getting the win in the end. Jeff Jarrett wins the Battle Royal. Took a lot of work to get rid of Trent, to the point where I just didn't think they were going to get rid of him. I was very comfortable that he was winning. There we go. Fair play. For those that we just spoke about it, we have got the ratings for Power Slap. 295,000 week 1, 413,000 week 2, 284 week 3, 275 week 4. So it's holding around that 270, 280 range at the moment. Must admit, that's a bit higher than I was thinking. I thought it would have dipped down. Okay, we've got a little promo from the House of Black. We got 20 minutes left, so we can't be too far away. Looks like the Tony announcement's going to close the show. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What is the Tony announcement going to be? What is the Tony announcement? Do you think it's going to be Forbidden Door 2? Do you think it's going to be new show? Do you think it's going to be new tour information? Because he could be like, we're going to do a big tour of Canada. We're going to go to the UK, blah, 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 blah. Mary, shout out to you. Imminent announcements. Imminent. Last week left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. If Tony milks this out and forces people to sit through a whole show and then the news is lackluster, is that a bad lock, potentially driving more fans away? No, well, I mean, look, I think this has been a better show. I am not sitting here at my wit's end like I was last week, right? I think this has been a better show. I still don't think this has been a fantastic show, but it's, much better than last week. So, first of all, that's an improvement. Then I just don't know what to expect from the news. For me personally, I am interested to see what he's got to say, but I have come into this thinking, like, maybe this isn't going to be anything that revolutionary. The fact that they're putting it on last definitely is going to make it feel that is definitely raising the expectation. I mean, it's closing the show. He can't just come out and say Ring of Honor are going to start filming soon. Would that be big enough? If he comes out and says that Ring of Honor are going to start recording shows and those shows will be going on to Ring of Honor Club, well, that would underwhelm me. That would underwhelm me. I want something that's going to impact the show. Dynamite. Do you know what I mean? I want something that's going to impact this. So, I don't know. People are hating on Tony before he even speaks, said Luke. It's going to underwhelm. Moxley, his main event. Oh, yeah, Moxley, Oh, my God. We haven't got any time. We've only got 18 minutes. Is there an overrun? 18 minutes to do the announcement and do a match. Do you know, I completely forgot about Moxley, Even so, it being this late in the show. The thing is, though, if it is Ring of Honor TV taping or something, the fact that you can then quickly move on to Moxley maybe means that it's got more of a chance of being something like that now. I don't know. I just don't know. 26% of you think Forbidden Door 2. 26% of you think it's going to be a new show. Something to do with that collision. Here he is. He's backstage. It's backstage. Huge announcement. Right. Okay, well, it's not Tony that's going to make it. It's Adam Cole that's going to make it. What's going on? In March. AEW All Access. It is the reality show. Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole, baby. Right. All Access. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? All Access. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you make of it? Actually, we could do a poll, couldn't we? Do a poll and see what people think. I don't think they. I mean, I might have missed it. I think he just said March, didn't he? I think he said March. Right, let's do. Let's get a quick video out. Might as well. Might as well. Let's do it. We'll get a poll up. Right. Thoughts? Love it. Okay. Hate it. What do you think? So that poll is up. Put what you think. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Was you expecting something bigger news-wise? I am disappointed that he didn't take shots at Ariel Helwani. We can't escape that fact. The opportunity was there. Right, let's go. Bang. Bang, there we go. Right. So, Tony Khan has just made his big, important announcement on AEW Dynamite. And actually, he said it was going to involve all of the superstars. And it was going to involve everyone backstage as well. And he said to make this announcement, he wanted to pass it over to one of those superstars. So the message didn't actually come from Tony. He would step to one side, and we would then get Adam Cole coming in. Adam Cole would come in, and he would announce that he is very excited that in March, and I don't think we got a specific date, but starting in March, after Dynamite, there's going to be a new 1-hour show, and it's called AEW All Access. There was no graphics or anything like this, but AEW All Access is starting in March. It's an hour long. It follows Dynamite, and Adam Cole said that he is especially excited to show us and for us to see the challenges that he has gone through and he has had to overcome in order to get back into the ring and get back to doing what he loves doing. He also announced that in March, when All Access debuts, that is going to be the same night that he will make his in-ring return. And you could hear the crowd. I mean, it felt like the crowd popped louder for that news than they did for the All Access news. This All Access news had leaked out on Fightful. Fightful said they didn't know if that's what the big announcement was going to be on the show tonight. Turns out it was. But yeah, this is one that I think is going to divide opinion. This is obviously great news for AEW because it's more programming, it's more advertisement revenue, it's just growing the brand. So it's good in that regard. Don't know that it fixes some of the concerns people have with the current AEW product, though. So in that regard, I can see people being a little disappointed. But I don't know. Let us know down in the comments. What do you think? Do you like the announcements? Are you got high hopes for this? It's one that I think is going to divide opinion, but one that won't divide opinion is people being excited to see the return of Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole, baby. So nice to be able to do those videos and not just have colour boxes. It's the little things in life. Do it, guys. I can't do it. I can't do those kind of videos. Right, Moxley is in the ring. He's going to have 10 minutes to work with. I want to get over to that. Poll as well and see what your reactions are to it. I think it's I don't know. I think it's an interesting one. I said before, if it's going to be that it's warts and all, and you can see like some of the arguments and you can see some of the real backstage dramas, you're not going to see the media things. It was never filmed. They started filming this in November apparently, but how much access are we getting? You know. Tony Khan makes his huge, important announcement. What do people think? Right, I can tell you that Evil Uno is making his way down to the ring. We've had Jon Moxley make his way out. So Jon Moxley coming out. I mean, just judging by how many people have joined us for this stream this week compared to how many have been around in recent weeks. If I use that as a gauge, I think that it suggests that this announcement has boosted ratings. It feels like there's more people around for this stream than there normally is, which I would love to put down to myself. But I think it's probably more the fact that the Tony Khan announcement has got people's interest and intrigue. And that's why it's going to be important to see what the reaction to it is. We've had 245 votes, and I can tell you 11% loved it, 29% thought it was okay, and 60% did not enjoy the news. So basically 10% loved it, 30% thought it was okay, 60% was not feeling it. So that's where we are with that. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not like totally down on it. It could be good. Equally, it could be flat. And it might be really underwhelming. I suppose the question is, will I tune in for it? I mean, this makes Dynamite 3 hours, really. I mean, it doesn't, but then it does. Because if you're an AEW fan, there's 3 hours of programming there for you to watch. You know, Raw, for example. Raw could be 2 hours of wrestling and then a reality show for an hour at the end. So they're bolting on a third hour here. I don't think, though, that I really think you'll see a drop-off. I think, like, Dynamite with stories progressing and matches and builds and your main event and all of that kind of stuff, it's going to clearly build. You know, you tend to start off hot, you dip back down, and then you'll, get back up for your main events. I think as soon as the show starts, there's going to be footage that's filmed months ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can see that dipping down. How are you going to get people to want to tune in to see what's going to happen next when it's all in the past and it's all quite old? Like, we know that Adam Cole is all right. We know that he makes a full recovery. So you're not going to watch that show thinking, oh God, what's going to happen with him? Like, we know what happens with him. And I think that might take some viewership away. If Adam Cole hadn't come back and he was still out and we didn't know the situation and this was our way of finding out, I think the ratings would be stronger then. But because we already know that he's returned, he's going to make his in-ring return, blah, 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 all of that stuff, I think that's why the ratings are going to be affected. So, I don't know. I don't know what their expectation is going to be. Obviously, people are going to compare it to the 2 hours of Dynamite. I think that's probably going to be unfair because I don't think you can expect this to do Dynamite numbers. Power Slap follows at the moment, doesn't it? So I suppose in a way, the benchmark is Power Slap. So the expectation will be, can it beat 280 odd thousand? Isn't it funny how we looked at Power Slap and we looked at those ratings and we were like, it's doing about 275, 280. Well, I think your expectation is that you beat that. If they put Power Slap there and got those ratings, they've surely got to want similar from this. The amount of money it costs to make Power Slap compared to the amount of money it costs to have a camera crew just follow some wrestlers around, I'd imagine is very different. The expenditure is going to be very different. It's going to cost a lot more to do Power Slap than it is to just follow around a few wrestlers. So maybe if the ratings were below Power Slap, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I don't think they're going to want them to be too much lower. You know, if this thing's going to do 80,000 views or something, it's probably a disaster. So I would say, just as a rough ballpark, 250, 275. I would imagine if it does that, they're probably going to be pleased with it. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think you can compare it to the 800 and some thousand on average Dynamite's bringing in. If it gets below that, I don't think you can class it as a disaster. Interesting, though, innit? Blood here for Evil Uno. I do like the blood on this, you know. I like the blood here. They do a bit too much blood in AEW. But here you've got blood all under the mask. And we don't see Evil Uno bleeding like this. I would say, like, maybe it'd be better to save it for, like, a pay-per-view. But let's be honest, when's Evil Uno going to get a pay-per-view match? Singles pay-per-view match like this is? This is his pay-per-view. Sit down, power driver. Michael said, thanks for doing these. You do an awesome job, Michael. Appreciate the kind words. Wow, that is pouring. That blood is pouring. So it's a shame because, like, if you was to say to someone, oh, there's Moxley's in the main event and there's bloods, I think a lot of people's reactions now are going to be, of course there is. Of course there is. That's a real shame because I actually think this blood's quite good with Evil Uno. It's not Moxley that's bleeding, it's Evil Uno. And what with it being in the mask and it's all like you can't quite see the wound and everything. Evil Uno in the middle of the ring. Oh, that's a tight grip, man. That is a tight... Oh, my God! That's bad. That is a lot of blood. They've had to... Oh, my God. Yeah, he's called it. He's called it. That is... Wow. Jon Moxley not letting it go. This is... Wow, my God. It's like he's killing him. It's like he's flipping killing him. Wow. We've got Blackpool Combat Club coming down, pushing Dark Order around. Here's Hangman. She really liked this main event, you know. Hangman coming down, throwing in some shots on Jon Moxley. Wearing Moxley down. What's he got? Barbed wire. He's put barbed wire out. I mean, I don't need all this kind of stuff, but the match, oh my God, he's killing him. Blood was squirting out. I mean, it was, oh God. It's all in his mask. It's pumping out. You can't really see the wound because it's Evil Uno and you don't see that from Evil Uno. It makes it special and it's just a shame, I suppose, in a way. And we say this all the time, that Moxley gets blood all the time. Because he gets it all the time, it loses its impact. But that actually had impact for me because it wasn't Moxley bleeding. It was Evil Uno. Buckshot lariat as Moxley rolls out the ring. David said, shot fired by Tony Khan at WWE. Didn't FS1 have a WWE behind the scenes show a little while ago? Maybe 18, 24 months ago that got cancelled. No, I think do you mean backstage? It was just it wasn't like a behind the scenes show. It was I really don't see that as shots fired as well. I don't think it's like shots fired. I don't think that he's firing a shot at WWE by putting on an all access show. Like he is you wouldn't do that. He couldn't do that. Like he's working with the network to provide them with additional content that they think the fans would tune in for. Like just doing that to take a shot at WWE, you wouldn't do. The networks wouldn't do. There's too much money. It's all too important. Do you know what I mean? Like no one wants that to fail. The networks aren't going to want that to fail. Tony's not going to want that to fail. This to me seems like it's a conversation of like, well, we can give you the hour after once Power Slap's finished. What are you going to do with it? And do you know, it's interesting because I wonder if the conversation ever came up of doing Dynamite for 3 hours. And I would imagine that Tony was probably like, look, a 3-hour show, booking a 2-hour show is, clearly challenging. A 3-hour show, we see wrestling fans criticize Raw all the time. Raw, constantly you hear with Raw, it should be shorter. That's what you hear about Raw. So I think they've sat down and they've come up with the idea that it's going to be better that they don't do 3 hours for Dynamite and that instead they do what it is that we've ended up with, which is this show. So it's interesting, but I don't think it's got anything to do with shots being fired. But wasn't a fan of the announcement, said Trini, or the Bloods, but otherwise it was solid. Dominic said, did he make the announcement? He did, yeah. He did. For some reason, the video's not uploading, though, which is a real shame. Don't know why that is taking forevs at the moment. Sometimes these things happen. But yeah, looks like YouTube is taking its sweet old time. Sweet old time. We'll have a look at the thing and see what people thought. We'll jump back over to that in a second. It's annoying, isn't it? Should be up. Should be up and out for the people. Let's see if a different one will load up. Yeah, if you've not voted, get your thoughts in. Feel free to put your score in the chat as well. I thought this was better. I thought it was better. Put this up. Tony Khan makes his huge, important. Seems like YouTube doesn't want to share the news. Seems like YouTube doesn't think it was huge important enough to warrant this video getting processed. Thanks, YouTube. Bang, bang. Perhaps sometimes this happens with YouTube. Perhaps it's just a bit of a fault on the system. Okay. Good. No, Power Slap is ending soon. I'm someone that loves Blood, but not just for the sake of having it. Ava said the show sucked, but it wasn't as bad as last week. Maybe YouTube just isn't accepting the awful announcements. Yeah, it's not having it. Oh, well, one's just gone up immediately. Is that up? I don't know which one's gone up now. One's gone up. Does it even work? I don't even know if it works. Oh my God. I don't even know if it's up. It's got no views according to this. Oh, I'm having all kinds of trouble with YouTube. Well, let me delete the one that said it's still processing. I'm going to delete that. I know this is not fun. This is not a fun watch along, but I suppose it gives you a little bit of an insight of what happens behind the scenes. So the one video wouldn't process. I've just tried to delete that one off, but I don't know which one has gone up. And I don't know. It's not showing that it's got any views. So I don't even know if it is up. Oh, God. Why is life so hard? Why is life so hard? It doesn't matter. I'll get to it. I'll have a look. Not even YouTube, like you said in Steve's. What was the huge announcement? There's a new show coming. I would say check out the video, but I don't know that there is one. Yeah, there's a new show coming. 344 votes right now. I'd love to get that to 350. So if you haven't voted, get a few more votes in there. YouTube blocked it. It was the right one. Announcement video. Oh, boom. It is up. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. On my back end, it's still showing no views. So there's clearly something not quite right. Do you think Access will be on Fights? I would think... Oh, that's a really interesting question. I would think so. But, I mean, things like... Oh, it's hard, isn't it? Because there's not really any other show that I watch that I do that way. I suppose in a way, it's a bit like saying, will Ms. and Mrs. go on to BT Sport? And it didn't. You know, you lot could watch Ms. and Mrs. And you were, don't lie, you could watch Ms. and Mrs. like straight after Raw. We couldn't. We couldn't watch it here in the UK. So there's probably a precedent for it to not go on, you know. I don't care about your back ends. Alex, we all know that's not what your DMs say. Come on now. We're all friends. I'll send you a picture, signed picture of me and my back end. Anyone else expecting Austin to come running into the chat? There he is, look! I knew he would pop his head up as soon as the conversation moved on to that. Roads to the top. Yeah, roads to the top. Roads to the top. I mean, the only thing I would say is that those things obviously focused on those wrestlers. This one's going to focus on the roster. It could be interesting. I mean, look, if it's going to be dramas that are manufactured or people just aren't going to care about, you know, if it's going to be like the bunny trying to get her ring gear, but you can't find it, and she's left it at home, she's trying to source new ring gear, I don't think anyone's going to care. But if we're going to be seeing like a talent like really disagreeing with Tony Khan, and it's because people love that sort of stuff. Like that sort of stuff tends to get people talking more than things that happen on the show. And AEW has had plenty of drama that's gone on outside of the ring, most notably the media scrum situation. If it's going to tap into that, it could be pretty good. I just don't know that it will. But a lot of people have said the stuff that fans are talking about the most is the stuff that happens outside of the ring. Like, people want to know about the delay with the video game, right? People want to know what's happening with the video game. Why is it delayed? How much does it cost? What does Tony think about how much that video game has cost, right? A lot of people are speculating that they've overspent. I think it's cost $80 million to make this video game. It was meant to come out, or it's been teased that it's meant to have come out a while ago. Release dates have been pushed back. Like, all the drama around the game, that could be covered in the show. And then you've obviously got things like Andrade. What's going on with Andrade? What's going on with Miro? What's going on with, like, people that aren't getting on TV? Where are they? Like, are they at the show? Are they in catering? Will we see Tony having conversations with them? If this show is what it says it is, and that is all access, then a lot of the things that the fans genuinely are talking about could be touched on, and the show could actually be all right, you know. The show could be all right. I think when you say there's going to be a reality show, you immediately, and I do as well, you immediately think Ms. and Mrs., Roads to the Top, Total Divas, Total Bellas. It's not a great track record, is it? Do you know what I mean? Those shows are... The dramas in there are either manufactured or they're just mini dramas, right? That no one's talking about, no one cares about. But if it was AEW All Access and the focus genuinely was on the things that people are talking about, genuinely the focus was moved on to, as we said, Andrade, Miro, the video game. And do you know what? It might, it might divide opinion. And some of the things that are on that show might not be comfortable to watch. You might think Tony's making some bad calls or whatever. But either way, the show would be unmissable. Do you know what I mean? Like, you would want to see, oh my God, and the conversations that would come out of it. It would be a calculated risk. It'd be a very calculated risk because obviously at the moment you can show the people what you want them to see. If you was to give a camera crew full access, all access, and it's real, and they were to try and, or stopping them interviewing Andrade, or stopping them interviewing Miro, or stopping them interviewing Brian Cage and all these people. If you used to do that, that show could be really interesting. And you would then be monetizing the actual things that fans are talking about and interested in. Will they do that, though? Will they do that? Or will it actually just turn out to be Roads to the Top, Total Bellas, Total Divas, and it's going to be one of those type shows? I mean, I must admit, the fact they had Adam Cole announce it, and the fact that he said that when it debuts will be his in-ring return, makes me think this is going to focus largely, for this first stage, on his struggles. Now, I think you're going to see some stuff that's going to shock you, I think there'll be some stuff on that show because from what we've heard, he didn't even at times have control of himself. There'd be twitches and things. I think seeing that is going to be quite shocking for people to see what he's gone through. So I think that's going to be some interesting footage, maybe not the easiest watch. But as I said, I don't think the problem is the conversation isn't around that now. The fans aren't talking about that now. It might be interesting to watch, but it's a little bit like if I did a video tonight talking about Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, right? It ain't going to do much because, to be honest, the conversation has moved on. We got the segments on Raw. We know where we're heading to. WrestleMania's on the horizon. The conversations right now are not around that anymore. It's kicked on, right? Really, if you did a video tonight on Roman and Sami, interest is going to be minimal, right? If you did a video on Sami and Jay, a situation that hasn't been resolved, a situation that's got a few twists and turns still to play in it, viewership on that might be better. I would anticipate more people would be engaged with that video, right? And that's my point here. No one's talking about Adam Cole's recovery. They're talking about when is he going to get back in the ring and what are we doing with him. No one's talking about what he's been through anymore because that news has been and gone. So if the show is going to focus on that, it's sort of old news. People want to know what's happening with Andrade, what's happening with Kenny Omega. There's rumors of him going to WWE. So what's happening with Kenny Omega? That's relevant right now. If they had that on the show, that would be interesting. I think part of the undoing of this All Access show could be the fact that we're going back to last November. If this thing was the camera crew film for, say, 4 days, edit for 2, it airs the next... Do you know what I mean? What you see next week is what has happened this past week. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Imagine if we had if we were there when Tony sent the tweet out about Ariel Helwani. So there's a camera crew. He's at his office. Camera crew's there. He's just working away. And we see the thought process of what was going through his head when he sends that tweet. There's your ratings. I would tune into that. I think a lot of wrestling fans would tune into that, or at least certainly try and catch the highlights and see why, because you'd have to think there'd be talking points coming out of that. You know, the stuff with Ariel Helwani, all that kind of stuff. I just don't have much confidence that that's the direction that show's going to go in, you know? But this is why I'm torn on it, because I think there's a show there. Whether you've got the melons to actually produce that show, make that show, that's a different conversation. But I think there's definitely a show there that could get some ratings and could grab people's attention. And it would be, you know, again, you know, we've said before that WWE, can they not try and capitalize on where the conversations are being had, you know, around like the stuff that's happening outside of the ring, more so than the stuff that's happening in the ring? Because that's been where the conversation has been for the longest time. You know, this is where news journalists and everything like Sean Ross Sapp, you know, they obviously benefit and make a living by getting all that dirt that's happening outside of the ring. You know, could WWE not capitalize on that? Now, WWE obviously are like trying to put on a brave face on everything, if you will, or, you know, present their best sides. They're not going to want you to see the dirtier side of the business, the grittier side of the business. They don't want you to see that. So you're never going to see that with WWE. AEW are meant to be different, you know what I mean? They're trying to present things and show you stuff that WWE won't do, you know, like blood in matches and all that kind of stuff. So they could go that little bit further, but I think that it'll probably be more in line with Total Divas, Total Bellas than it will Beyond the Mat. And I think Beyond the Mat is more what the fans would respond positively to. But this is why I'm split, because until I see it, who knows where on that scale it's going to be. Needs to be unscripted. Yeah, needs to be unscripted. Omega in WWE, Meltzer would have a stroke. But how do you censor out Scarface pile of powder on Tony's desk? Well, you don't, do you? You don't. If that's what's going on, if that's where we are, if that's the crux of it, then you present it. This is why I'm saying, a warts and all. I think even people that hate AEW would be fascinated by that show, because, to be honest, I'm sure there'd be plenty of stuff in there that you could criticize Tony on about. Do you know what I mean? Like, understanding his thought process, seeing him book, seeing like some of the stuff behind the scenes. I'm sure that would provide plenty of ammunition for anti-AEW fans, anti-Tony Khan fans. But equally for AEW fans, it's just getting you closer to the business, getting you closer to behind the scenes, like really showing you what it's like backstage. Warts and all, unscripted. God, I'd love that show. That show would be awesome. I just don't think we're getting that show. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Irish Rebel said, I like all the gossip in the dirt. FaZe Coaster said, I'm in between okay and hating it. The show is mids. I think Jamie losing at Revolution would suck any little interest I've got left out of this. I don't know, because the thing is, Jamie is a project, and I would stick with Jamie, because I think if you put the belt on Jamie thinking it was going to do anything to the ratings, that's on you, really, to be honest. Because she is not someone she's over with the fan base, the core fan base. But she's not someone that's going to bring in all these extra people. So she's a project. She's someone you build up a credibility, keep exposing her, keep getting her out there. I think having the title on her is a long-term project thing. The only thing is that long-term projects are great, but we do need to improve the ratings here and now. And the belt going on to Saraya, what does that do? If Paige is the AEW Women's Champion. You know, what message does that send out? Does that bring back some fans? Would some people come back to check out the product to see what a Paige title reign would look like? I don't know that they do, to be honest. I think people checked out Paige when she first came back, saw what they needed to see, and then I think they went. I don't know if putting the belt on her does anything to the ratings, but Tony might be looking at it thinking, well, it's probably not going to hurt ratings. If you're the kind of fan that likes Jamie Hayter, then I've got to imagine you're someone that's into AEW, because you must have watched a fair bit of it to be, like, you know, even aware of Jamie Hayter. She didn't have much in the way of name value when she came in. So if you like Jamie Hayter, you must have watched a lot of AEW to even know who she is and followed her progression. So chances are you're probably already watching, and you're probably going to keep watching. That's maybe what he's banking on. And then he's thinking, well, if I've already got the Jamie Hayter fans anyway, do I go with Saraya and see if I can bring back some of those fans that might have been lapsed? Don't know. Equally, it could be a triple threat because he wants Jamie Hayter to win against both. And he's got plans to make her, even more credible. So now she can brag about beating Saraya and Ruby Soho in the same match. So he could be thinking those lines. I don't know which way he'll go. I think both are viable options. Both are viable. Both are on the table. I don't think you would put the belt on Ruby Soho. I don't see the sense in that. Because, again, like, she, to me, is not going to be bringing in any ratings. So she would be a project, but you've already got a project in Jamie Hayter. So why would you change one project for a different project? I think if you're going to take the belt off Jamie Hayter, you're going to do it to put it onto Saraya, who is a big star. Everyone knows Paige. There'll be fans that checked out AEW when she first came in, saw what they saw, probably went again. They might come back if she's champion. I don't think they do, but it might be something that he's thinking about. So it's an interesting one, that one. It's an interesting one. James said, taking the title off Hayter would be a massive mistake. She is so over. Putting the title onto Ruby or Saraya would change nothing in the ratings. I can't say I disagree. I think, though, that, look, Paige is a big star. She is seen as, a woman that was really critical to the explosion, the divas revolution, the women's evolution. She was critical to that. She's always been given props for that. And then obviously her career got cut short. When you was talking about biggest free agents, women's wise, it always felt like it was AJ Lee and Paige. Now they managed to get Paige, and there was a lot of excitement when she came in. A lot of excitement. A lot of people saying this is just what myself included. I said this is good for the women's division. It's a big, credible name. It's the kind of name that I'm sure WWE would have been interested in. And actually, we heard they tried to get her because she has got credibility. She's got name value, but not as Saraya. This is why WWE changed people's names. This is why it makes sense for WWE to do that. Like, now you understand and can see really in practice why it's so important they do that, because WWE have built up the Paige character. No one's built up Saraya, right? Saraya doesn't, you hear the name Saraya, it doesn't mean anything to anyone. You'd have to say, the woman that was known as Paige. Like, but it's all a bit clunky, isn't it? And like, you're not going to put that on a poster. AEW aren't going to put Saraya in brackets. She used to be Paige, like, formerly known as Paige. Like, you're not going to do that. So this is where WWE changing people's names really bears fruit for WWE, because it really limits. If you had a poster that said Dean Ambrose, Rusev, Paige, Daniel Bryan, like, you literally listed all of their WWE names, that's going to look real impressive. Like, you're really the casuals. Look at this show that's got Paige and Dean Ambrose and Rusev, and it's got, all these Ruby Riott. It's got all these people on that used to be in WWE. That would play, that would look amazing on a poster. But instead, it's Jon Moxley. It's Saraya. It's Ruby Soho. Like, the name recognition's just not there. And that is an issue. I do agree. Saraya winning the title, there's going to be a lot of casuals that will have watched her in WWE that won't know she's in AEW and certainly won't know the Saraya name. Like, every time you talk about Saraya, you got to make sure you get the picture out there as well so that people recognize her and then see the name afterwards. But I don't disagree. If you put the belt on Saraya, I really don't think that's going to make a massive difference to the ratings. Equally, I don't think it hurts the ratings. I don't think the ratings go down. I think you're just sadly sort of not abandoning the project that is Jamie Hayter, but you are certainly not investing in Jamie Hayter as strongly as you could be. So I would continue with Jamie. I do agree. I don't know what he's thinking. I never know what he's thinking. I never know what he's got plans. Yeah. The Ruby needs to get some burn, and as a face, she has more of a chance. The only woman that would change the ratings is Mercedes, in my opinion. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Mercedes would be massive. Mercedes would be massive if she came in, of course. Yeah, that would be massive. I would imagine they've probably reached out, tried to get her. I saw her talking to Kenny, and Mercedes said she's a massive fan of Kenny. I don't know. I mean, I'd imagine Tony's reached out. He must have reached out. He must have. But I don't know where we are with that. I think she's doing what she's doing with New Japan and Stardom, and she's focused on that. I could see her eventually coming in and doing something with AEW, but the money would have to be right and the story would have to be right. Like, I know there's been people saying, could you see her go after Jade Cargill? My answer would be, why the hell would she come in and go after a mid-card belt in AEW? Like, this is the woman that's the top of the business. Like, she is either getting that AEW Women's Championship, and if Jade happens to be there at the time, brilliant. Or that's it. I mean, you ain't bringing Mercedes in and putting her after a mid-card belt. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense to me. Even though there's plenty of people out there that would like to see Jade against Mercedes, as I said, you'd probably, if you was going to do that, have to try and get Jade to the title and make her a double champ. If you don't want her to lose the TBS title, make her a double champ. But I don't know where we are, Mercedes. It doesn't feel to me like we're that close. There's been no rumors or anything, has there? So, don't know. What was the announcement? There's a new reality show that's starting. It's going to start in March. It's days for getting Saraya on social media and Twitch streamer so her fans know. Yeah, but her fans will already have tuned in. I'm not worried about her fans. So the point we were making is that when Saraya came in, she will have brought like her fans with her. And now naturally some of them have gone, people are fickle. Some of her hardcore fans, I couldn't even tell you what that number is. I mean, who knows? Hardcore Saraya fans that are going to follow her to whatever promotions she goes to. What is that number? I don't know. I don't know what numbers she was getting on her streams. But some of them are just going to be people that pop in, or Paige's live, Saraya's live, pop in. People that are like, going to follow her to different promotions. What's that number? Don't know. But so those people, I have to think have already come. I can't imagine that they've not arrived and they're waiting for just I'll watch her, but only when she gets the belt. But so I think you have to already factor that those people are here. They're part of the show now. They are part of the 820,000. So putting the belt onto Saraya, where do the extra people come from? Where's all those other people that are coming from? Those additional people. And to me, those additional people, those aren't the Saraya fans that are on her streams. They're the Lapse fans. They're the fans that maybe know her as Paige and maybe checked her out when she first came in, but have now since gone off to do other things. And we need to try and get them people back. And it doesn't seem like Jamie being champion is doing that, because ratings last week was 820. Week before that, I think, was low as well. Like, we've been in the 800s for a little while now. So, you know, we keep saying that the numbers aren't in a great place. We need to pick those numbers up. We need to boost those numbers, get them picked up. Jamie is a project. She's not going to bring you the ratings right now. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. I really like Jamie Hayter, and I would stick with her. I would use the rest of the show to boost the ratings. But it is interesting, you know, is Tony thinking that Saraya might just do that? Could she boost the ratings? She must be on a decent wage if you think about it. I don't think she's come in for, peanuts. I think she's on a decent whack. So he might even be thinking about, trying to really get a return on that investment that he's made. Again, trying to second guess what Tony Khan thinks is tricky. Right. I can tell you that things are just leveling out a bit more now, right? So this poll has been up for 45 minutes. We've had over 400 votes. I said, could we get to 350? We're now at 415. It's pretty good, right? So 47% hated it. So nearly half really didn't like the announcement. 37% thought it was okay. So you could round that up to 40%. And 16% thought that loved it. Thought like 16% were really into it, really excited by it. About 40% thought it was okay. About 50% didn't enjoy it. So there we go. That's where we are. That was Dynamite. I thought it was a better show. I actually really liked the main event. I liked the first match as well. I was impressed with Orange Cassidy against Wheeler Yuta. The announcement, as I said, didn't leave me I wasn't completely underwhelmed by it, because obviously there'd been rumors of it anyway. And as I said, if it is going to be all access, which I don't think it will be, but if it is going to be all access, then that could be really interesting. If it's going to be Total Divas, then I think it's going to be a disaster, to be honest. But until we see it, we don't know. Battle Royal. Honestly, if Trent had won, I would have been a bit down on it, because seeing Trent get absolutely destroyed by two guys and then still do the babyface thing, I'm just a bit over that. In this day and age, I'm just a bit over that. But he didn't, and that's really cool. I find that really interesting that he didn't, and Jeff Jarrett picked up the win. So I actually like the ending of that. So I would have booked it a bit different, but I kind of like the fact that it didn't go the way that I was anticipating. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, there was some all right bits in there. Bit of a mixed bag. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some all right stuff, but a much better episode than last week, a much better episode. So right now, we are back again next week for AEW. Right now, I feel like I can move forward with a bit more confidence that, it's not... I mean, if this show had been as bad as last week, or dare I say even worse, we would be done. We would be out. We would be done, right? But I'm not actually ending this stream feeling like the walls are caving in on me. I'm not ending this stream in a pit of depression. I feel all right. It was all right. So, yeah. We'll come back again next week, and obviously Revolution is not that far away. I suppose the challenge they're going to have, though, is it's all well and good saying this was better than last week. I think last week was a low bar, so it should be better than last week. And this week was better. Did it impress people enough? Was the announcement good enough? Because I think the announcement has boosted ratings. How's the announcement going to be received? How's the show before the announcement going to be received? What's the rating of this show going to be? I think it's going to be up. I think the announcement worked. I think it's going to have boosted it. Don't know by how much. Certainly not saying 1 million. I'm certainly not saying even 900,000, but I think last week was 820. Could this do 850? Could this do 860? Could this do 870, 880? Could it be around that kind of ballpark, right? I think it will be. I think it'll be up. And then how will it play? More importantly, next week there isn't an announcement, right? We don't have an announcement. So what do we do next week? What's the card like next week? How's that going to play next week? So, yeah. And obviously Revolution not too far away. So we're clearly building towards that. And we'll see how that goes down. Right. Awesome. Appreciate the support. Thanks a lot for joining us. And I will see you. We're back on Friday, of course. Back on Friday with SmackDown. And of course, this weekend, I think we are doing UFC on Saturday night, which I still need to set up. And then on Sunday, Jake Paul in action against Tommy Fury. We've got that on Sunday. And for members, there is a members stream. Don't forget, if you want to send in a clip, minute long video, minute long audio, send it to wrestlingdays@gmail.com. And I will look to include that in the members stream tomorrow. I want to try and do one every 2 weeks. We did one 2 weeks ago. I said I'd be back. I'm a man of my words. Here we are. And I want your clips, your thoughts. What did you think about the announcement? What do you think about AEW Dynamite at the moment? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's all right? What did you think about the announcement? Same criteria. What did you think about Sammy? Same criteria. What do you think about, I don't know, WWE in general at the moment and the road to WrestleMania? What matches do you want to see? Who would you like Gunther to face? Do you think we're getting Cena Theory? Certainly feels like it's heading that way. So what do you think main events night 1? Blah, 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 blah. There are so many topics to talk about. So have a think about that if you are a member, and we'll do that members stream tomorrow. And it should be good. I mean, the last one was good. Really enjoyed the last one. And as we said, the floor is yours, so we can cover any and all topics, whatever it is you want to talk about. Awesome. Appreciate the support. I will see you next time. Bye for now.